afternoon in the ACC in Raleigh, North Carolina for the home opener for the Wolfpack. And ACC football is presented by your local Ford dealer. Raleigh, North Carolina, the site of our game, the first ever meeting between the Charleston Southern Buccaneers out of the Big South and the NC State Wolfpack, number 18 in the nation, as the teams take the field. Carter Finley Stadium, the site of our game today. And it is so great to have you with us for our game in the ACC this afternoon. Tom Wormy along with James Bates. Lindsey Rowley will join us in just a moment from the sidelines. James, to say that last week was a close call for NC State would be a complete understatement. A 1-point win on the road at East Carolina. What we've heard from the coaches all week long and in our meetings yesterday, right, James? The words humility, humbled, fortunate and thankful. Let's get after it today against Charleston Southern.
Dave Doran went as far to say, I said to my team, the worst thing that anybody can ever call you is an underachiever. And he's talking to a lot of guys, 17 returning starters, a lot of fifth-year, sixth-year guys out there that have played a lot of football and a lot of winning football. There are 10 starters that return on defense and way too many tackles missed last week. Last year, they were top 5 in the nation with fewest missed tackles. But when you've got guys like Tanner Engel that are pressing and missing tackles in the open field, which we've seen him do time and time again, just a perfect open field guy, a tough guy, you know something's a little wrong. Devin Leary wasn't Devin Leary, but at the end of the day, they enter this week 2 at 1-0. So they dodged a little bit of a bullet. Don't take anything away from that ECU team. That's a good football team. I expect them to go high-powered today and look really good doing it. It's going to be fun to watch.
And we should see a lot of weapons on display for this offense, especially for NC State. And one of those is at the receiver position. And for more on that player, down to the third member of our broadcast team on the sidelines today, Lindsey Rowley.
Thanks so much, Tom. That's right, wide receiver Thayer Thomas. If you go back to his senior year in high school, he didn't have many offers for college football, had a few for college baseball, but then Coach Doran came to one of his games to actually watch his younger brother, Drake. He caught the attention of Coach Doran. Thayer told me he had one of the best games he's had in high school that night. Thayer ended up walking on to the football team at State after he arrived. He went over, knocked on the door of the baseball offices. Head coach Elliot Avent knew who Thayer was, asked him to work out, and just like that, Thayer was a two-sport athlete at State. Now, fast forward, Thayer actually ended up getting drafted by the Red Sox in 2019 in the 33rd round. Thayer told me he had some help making his decision whether to stay in college. That help came from Russell Wilson. Wilson was in a similar situation when he was at NC State when he got drafted for the Rockies. In the end, Thayer said football still had a special place in his heart and he wasn't ready to walk away from the game. Now here he is at his final year at NC State and will go down in history as one of the best wide receivers to ever wear a Wolfpack jersey. Guys?
Lindsey certainly will, with a touchdown grab last week in the 1-point win against East Carolina. And Thomas, for his career, 21 career touchdown receptions. That's tied for second in school history. So he is just one of the outstanding players in the lineup today for NC State. Charleston Southern, James, won the toss and elected to defer. So NC State will start with the football. Martin is going to kick it off to Julian Gray. Deep for the pack. Buccaneers lost last Saturday at home against Western Carolina, 52-38. This is a short kick. Up near the 30, Jordan Houston to midfield, and he gets tripped up on the Charleston Southern side of the 50. So Vera had to make the tackle. 31 yards on the return for NC State.
Well, Jordan Houston, they thought they'd kick it to a guy who's a little less dynamic and hopefully get down there and cover. That wasn't the case. Jordan Houston doing a good job to set things up for Devin Leary. There he is, one of the best in the game of college football here this year, coming in preseason player of the year in the ACC. A fearless, fun guy to watch, and look for him to get back on track and back in the groove here this afternoon.
22nd career start for Leary. He'll throw it deep, middle of the field, floats it incomplete. He was looking for Chris Tootle, the sophomore from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Not sure if he just let him way too much. Looked like maybe not quite on the same page there, but I do like the thought process. Offensive coordinator Tim Becking, they didn't have many explosives, big plays last week against ECU, and they're looking to make something happen, make some noise today.
Leary's pass complete at the 40. Breaking tackles down to the 30. Devin Carter. First down, NC State at 18 yards. Livingston made the tackle for Charleston Southern.
Big 88, Devin Carter making his 35th start today, and Leary and Carter look for that all day long if CSU is going to give them that much cushion. Nice, easy pitch and catch. Move those chains on second down.
Once again to the air over the middle. That's complete. Tootle. Garrett Sega on the tackle. 8 yards on the pass play.
Sega, big-time player in the middle. Captain, they call him Pudge. Damage is done, though. Nice pickup by Tootle on first down. Tootle, of course, going to get a lot of reps today, along with Sebro. As Trent Penix is injured, look for him to be back this year, but not today.
Houston around the edge, inside the 10-yard line. Flag is out behind the play near the 24-yard line. They got 12 on the run by Houston.
Holding, offense number 50, 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's big Grant Gibson. And Gibson is the center right there in the middle, going to get up and move, and then he ends up, well, it looked like Sega had a step on him, and he tackles him, so it's a good play call. You don't get a whole lot of holding calls on the offensive line in this day and age, but when you tackle him out in space like that, you're going to get flagged. So going backwards on this one for a second and long now.
Leary's pass, Sumo Kongbe out in the flat inside the 30, 3 yards on the play. He had 14 carries for 79 yards a week ago and a touchdown. It was a 24-yard run in the second quarter for Demi Sumo Kongbe, the sophomore from Willingboro, New Jersey.
Yeah, both Sumo Kongbe and Jordan Houston good catching the ball out of the backfield. Sumo Kongbe, he put on quite a show against ECU last week. Teammates call him Sharko. Starting this one here today.
Those carries last week, the first of his career. Leary has the time, comes out of the pocket, floats one, and it's incomplete near the 12-yard line. Looking for Thayer Thomas, who did well to knock it away from the defender, Cameron Smith.
You know, interesting, Tim Beck calling this offensive, this first drive here, it's to the air, to the air, to the air, and you get a feel that he's really trying to get his quarterback back into a rhythm. Devin Leary, he's great when he's lathered up, a little bit of a tempo and going.
Christopher Dunn from 46 yards away, and he puts the Pack on the board with his 70th career field goal, adding to his school record from 46 yards away from Christopher Dunn.
Some nice little moments there for the first offensive drive of Dave Doran's Wolfpack. The penalty so costly, the big holding penalty, and they really had this Buccaneer defense on their heels prior to that. And Devin Leary still just trying to get him going, slinging that ball around. And it seems you think back some of the times last year, really seemed to be at his best when they put the pedal to the metal, a little bit of tempo. Obviously, he's key. If they want to go where they expect to go, preseason ranking of 13th in the nation, NC State. A lot of big expectations. 7 starters returning to that offense and 10 on this defense that we're getting ready to see.
That number 13 ranking the highest in 47 years to start the season for NC State, working on a 12-game winning streak in home openers. They haven't lost since 2009. TJ Ruff is the deep man. Colin Smith kicks it away to Ruff. No return on this one. So Charleston Southern a week ago, James, lost at home against Western Carolina 52-38. Their quarterback, Ross Malmgren, was 30 of 45 and 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah, but he was sacked 5 times, so they've got to do a better job of protecting the sophomore here today, and that's not going to be easy to do against the Wolfpack squad that didn't have any sacks. So you know that's one of their big goals as they enter this game. So look for a lot of quick game out of this Buccaneer offense. You got a lot of quick game out of ECU last weekend. Part of the reason why they didn't have any sacks. Malmgren's good. He's got some good ones behind him. But looking for him to run the show today.
Vincent Davis on the edge. That's 4 yards on the play. Derek Pitts Jr., graduate student for NC State, had the tackle number 24 in red, white, and black. Out of Dunbar, West Virginia.
Kind of like his defensive coordinator. Tony Gibson is a West Virginia guy. One of many great coaches in the game from there.
Seth Anderson, 6 yards and a first down up to the 35-yard line for the Bucks.
Well, that'll work. Get the ball to one they call Mr. Motivator. Nice job timing there on the tight coverage, but just enough to move those chains in a fresh set of downs for the redshirt freshman from Swanee, Georgia.
Malmgren did not see a lot of action last year, only 30 snaps from scrimmage. Given the starting role this season, that's Vincent Davis. Spins away for 7 yards. Second catch for Davis. Early minutes of the first quarter from Raleigh, North Carolina, the first ever meeting between these two programs. Charleston Southern out of the Big South, and their head coach Autry Denson in his 4th season. 12 and 15 in his career on the sideline for the Buccaneers.
Still got that gold and blue on like the Notre Dame Fighting Irish when he was a running back.
Incomplete pass from Malmgren. Isaiah Moore providing the pressure. Number 1 for NC State.
Yes, sir. Linebackers here, baby. They get after it. Coming on the blitz. Isaiah Moore, a 3-time captain, and showing you why right there. They've been successful, Charleston Southern, with the quick game. But you drop back there and expect this defensive line to just stay put. That's not going to happen. They're going to have to keep up with the quick game. And here they need 3 yards to move the chains.
On 3rd down for Charleston Southern. Flip it out to the left, and Davis! He's turned back. A loss of 2. Tyler Baker-Williams led the way for NC State and Cyrus Fagan.
Yeah, they used to do the war chant, dun, 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 when that would happen. Cyrus Fagan started his career at FSU. Graduate, transfer from Daytona Beach. Great job in the open field. Just, hey, you can complete them all day in front of me. I know where you're trying to get. Step up, make the play, get off the field. Good stop there for the defense.
David Gelb is into punt to Thayer Thomas. 10:30 and counting here in our first quarter. Thomas wants the fair catch, ranges back to the 10-yard line, and they'll mark him right near the 11. 49 yards on the punt, and 4.4 seconds of hang time on the Buccaneer punt.
ACC football is brought to you by your Georgia Best Chevy dealers. Z-Max Micro Lubricant. Extend engine life. Increase fuel mileage. Available at AutoZone. And Green Machine. Available exclusively online at HomeDepot.com.
The 56th season inside Carter Finley Stadium for this North Carolina State program, leading 3-0 on Christopher Dunn. Field goal from 46 yards away. Now time for our Ford Keys to the Game with James Bates.
All right, let's do it for Charleston Southern. Special teams, and you're going against a great special teams team in NC State, so you're going to have to find a way to help your offense out for NC State. Capitalize. Not with the O, even though the Capitol building isn't far from here, but just capitalize. Dave Doran's team, you get a turnover on defense, get some points out of that. Go score. You get good field position. You got to play complementary football, and we didn't see that last week.
That pass incomplete. Keon Lassane, number 15, was the intended receiver, the junior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Leary, in that previous drive that produced 3 points, was 3 of 5 through the air and hit 3 different receivers. Once again, it was Christopher Dunn making his 70th career field goal. That's a school record. 70 of 87 now for Dunn here at NC State. Little flip. Sumo. Just one. I was ready to really go with that, James.
Well, first to the ground here, and I was ready too, because he brought all kinds of excitement last year. Watch 40 right there, punch, boom. He gets knocked down, the middle linebacker for CSU. He won't get credited with the tackle right there, but he made that happen because he penetrated, he set the edge right there, and made Sumo turn back in 3rd and long.
Leary surveys the situation, goes to his right, incomplete. Devin Carter, number 88, defended by Jeremiah McClendon. And so the punting unit onto the field for NC State.
Zane Vance's defense, the defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, getting a 3 and out after an outstanding punt by David Gelb. Flips the field a little bit. And Charleston Southern able to move the football a little bit early on that opening drive. What looks to be have decent field position to start.
Now this is one of the points that Coach Doran told us about. Shane McDonough and punting. He wanted more hang time, and we will keep an eye on that for you. This is kind of a low liner. Fair catch made. Vincent Davis inside the 45, and 3.28 seconds of hang time. Not what Coach Doran told us he was looking for from his punter.
He wanted 4.
3-0 lead over the visiting Buccaneers as we play in the first quarter. Time for our impact players, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers with the Buccaneers on offense, James.
All right, started with TJ Ruff. Not rough like Tuffy around here, but just rough. R-U-F-F. Redshirt freshman from Shelby, North Carolina. And decent week last week, a long of 23. Got some action as a freshman. Ran really well, actually, against the Georgia Bulldogs late in that game. They've got to be able to run it a little bit. They've got to make this defense fear that they're going to run it anyway. And there was a look on the other side. Corey Durden, they need more out of him. The big graduate transfer from FSU out of Newberry, Florida.
Malmgren, complete. Davis.
Here comes Tanner Engel. And Tanner Engel right there, number 10. There's a look at Pitts as he walks by. But Tanner missed a couple tackles last week. He slows the receiver down here in this situation. But usually he takes those right angles, and he's so sure in the open field. Maybe he needs to ditch those gloves. He used to always wear just the bare hands out there. Here's 2nd down.
Quick release, incomplete. Caden Jordan, intended receiver on the sideline in front of his own bench.
There's Tanner on the pass defense this time, doing a good job. Nice tight coverage and raking it away. Led the team in tackles last year. He leads them in plays with 776 coming into this one. And he and his Wolfpack D trying to get a stop and get off the field. Right here, Engel from Dr. Phillips High School in the shadow of Universal Studios down there in Orlando, Florida. Let's see what they got on 3rd down.
They've got an incompletion on a turnover. They're going to have to kick it back to NC State.
Tony Gibson, he hasn't had any sacks yet in this season. No sacks in this game, but a couple pressures. And key, there you see Engel coming from his off spot and adds a little bit of pressure there to try to slow him down a little bit. It was Lee Matthews, left guard, the sophomore out of Palmetto, Florida, down by Bradenton. I'll have to punt it away again.
Thayer Thomas, the deep man for NC State. Gelb, the graduate student, punts it away for the Bucks. Fair catch intended by Thomas near the 20. Let it bounce. And that'll roll just inside the 5. So the punt by Gelb is 47 yards deep in their own territory for Coach Doran and the Wolfpack. All right, so NC State takes over. Devin Leary at quarterback, and that brings us to our impact players, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
Bring them out. Come on. Do I say it or do I wait for the graphic? I'm so nervous right now. Let's just wait.
We will hold that for a moment.
It's better with graphic.
We will revisit that. Jordan Houston is the back to the right of Leary. Whistles as the play is initially snapped, and a timeout taken by Charleston Southern. So before that snap and the play for NC State, Autry Denson, in his 4th year on the sideline for the Bucks, wants a timeout. They've got a pin deep here in the first quarter, trailing 3-0. First quarter, that takes us to our impact players, brought to you by your local Toyota dealers with the pack on offense.
Yeah, there we go. Let's do it. And let's start with Sharko, as they call him, Sumo Karngbay. At ECU, he had 14 carries, a 24-yard touchdown run, 22-yard run. Man, was he fun to watch on tape. Exciting to watch him do his thing here today. He's slick and slippery, and he's a nice 1-2 punch with Jordan Houston, who looked for him to play quite a bit as well, get that bad taste out of his mouth with the fumble near the goal line going in at ECU last week. And Sega, we've seen Garrett Sega, the linebacker for the Bucks, quite active early, doing a great job, just as always there as you look at his numbers. They call him Pudge, and he decided to return late in the summer. So, you know, coming back for his graduate season, he's not in the best shape like you'd want your middle linebacker to be, because don't go through spring ball, don't go through all those summer workouts. You might be working out a little bit, but not quite like you would if you're with the whole team. So as he gets back into shape, they're certainly looking for him to lead the team in tackles again. Had 7 tackles and a tackle for loss, a fumble recovery against the fighting Kerwin Bells of Western Carolina in the loss last weekend to open the season.
And James, you mentioned that this program took on Georgia at the end of the season last year. Now, they lost that game 56-7. But last year they also played.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, North Carolina State at the 5-yard line. Charleston Southern is charged with their first timeout.
So we're being told there was a review during the break. They wanted to see if the ball hit an NC State player.
Okay.
On the punt. That was the previous punt.
Okay.
So that was Thayer Thomas who got away from it, James. This is Houston on the rush. Just to finish that thought. Now, last year, the Bucks played Georgia at the end of the season, right, James? They lost that game, understandably, to the national champs, I might add. They also played September 25th at East Carolina and lost 31-28. They led the Pirates 14-0 before the Pirates knew the Bucks were in town.
Yeah, absolutely. They played ECU really well last year, and those Pirates looking pretty good this year. The NC State fans saw that last week, and here's a nice play to get out from the shadow of your own goalpost.
10 yards on the play to Julian Gray.
1 catch last week and 1 early in this one, and you had to think maybe that number 8 might get a few more balls in this game. Great job after the catch, and look at Darryl Jones taking over, number 11, just driving his guy out of there and blocking for his teammate, helping to move those sticks.
From the 21 for NC State, back to the ground. Jordan Houston. Bugsy Silvera made the tackle, 9 yards for Houston.
This big offensive line just completely washes that defensive front. And here comes Houston with the vision, with the little slide step. And I think it's huge for number 3 to have a good day here today and get back into that rhythm. He was probably thinking he was going to be the star, the number 1 guy, and it will be a 1-2 punch. A lot of pats on the back for Sharko here this past week. They need number 3 all year, too.
All day for Leary. Up to the 35-yard line. And that is first down yardage. Owusu forced him out of bounds. 6 yards on the scamper by Leary.
There's Owusu from Irmo, South Carolina, and it's just his second start. With a first down for Devin Leary and this Wolfpack offense. They like to go down and put it in the paint here on this one.
How about Leary last year with his 35 touchdown passes, setting a school record. Houston trying to bounce off tacklers, doesn't get far. Sherry Jefferson, number 30, first man on the scene at a loss of 3. Cameron Smith also there.
Watch scary Sherry Jefferson. One arm while he blows up the blocker, the would-be blocker. That's Tootle. And with the other one goes and tries to make the stop. I mean, that's the kind of penetration. And you've seen it out of 30. You've seen it already out of 40. These linebackers, they're hungry and they get back there. They know their position and how to help out their teammates.
Sideline and caught Thayer Thomas. Silvera forced him out. 5 yards on the catch by Thomas. Last week, James, 4 catches, 58 yards, and a receiving touchdown in the first quarter in that 21-20 win against the Pirates of ECU.
And Tom, that's just 2 guys that have just been pitching it and catching it for a long time together. Nice timing route, getting it out there to him, and Silvera able to drop Thomas.
3rd and long, 0 for 2 on 3rd down. Not this time. Into Buccaneer territory. Keon Lassane and 14 yards from Leary, and the sticks are rolling.
Keon Lassane, his first start at ECU last weekend. Look at the pocket. Nobody anywhere around Devin Leary, and that'll help your quarterback get into a little bit of a rhythm, a little bit of a groove. Pack feeling pretty good right now, and he's throwing a pretty good ball, Tom.
Sumo Karngbe is the back, just to the right of Leary. Play fake, pressure came, throw downfield. Flags come out. Anthony Smith was the receiver. There was pressure right up the middle from Sega.
Yeah, and Sega with the low hit on Leary, a little bit scary just when your quarterback's starting to...
Holding. Defense, number 6, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's going to be called on Cameron Smith. And, hey, you live to play another play. You know you're going to get beat. That's all you can do. It's actually a smart play. You got turned around. That cushion broke down, and he should have flipped those hips a lot sooner than that. Just live to play it again. And I'm glad that Leary's okay after taking that shot as he threw the ball.
Just over 5 minutes to go in our first quarter. Sumo Karngbe down the sideline. Rumbles his way to a first down for the Wolfpack.
Even though I shouldn't love it being a former linebacker, it's a thing of beauty, Tom, to watch these big boys on the offensive line just get up and move. And here at NC State, you see all of them. Even Gibson, the center, Grant Gibson, can get up and run. They all move so well. And as a running back, like Sumo Karngbe, it's got to be a great feeling to be running behind that big train.
15 yards, previous play, throwing the run to the 15. Another first down to Lassane. They got 12 on that pass play.
Rolling out Leary, and you got to be careful. Cameron Smith, we saw Silvera just a few moments ago. If you're going to go after that ball, you better get it, because you want to keep the lid on, at the very least get a tackle.
Leary. It's too far in the back corner of the end zone. Last week, NC State was 1 for 3 in the red zone in the 1-point win against ECU. Gray was the receiver in the back of the end zone for Leary, who threw it away. Just over 4 minutes to go in our first quarter. A Christopher Dunn field goal, the only scoring so far. And we are now inside the red zone, brought to you by CPI Security, James.
Tom, you mentioned the stat, and the 2 times that they didn't get in, it was a goal line stand. They were stuffed on 4 downs, and then there was the fumble in the fourth quarter. So they need to finish. Finish is a key word for this offense, especially here today.
Flags are out.
False start. Offense number 29, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Jeff Knight is our referee for this afternoon's proceedings here at Carter Finley Stadium.
Right here is we're going to get Tootle. Looked like he just got going just a little bit too soon, and we had the holding call earlier as they were moving the football. And you know, this one's not quite as big as that holding call, but still, just when you got everything going forward, you don't want to back it up a couple steps.
Sumo Kongbe, 15. Forced out near the 13-yard line. Ombre Kennedy and Jeremiah McClendon combining to force him out after 5 yards.
You've been waiting to say hombre. He's one bad hombre.
He's one mean hombre.
Look at Thayer coming back in, the crack block, doing a good job of staying high. You can't cut in that situation anymore, coming from the outside. And a nice job pursuing. And good angles by the defense to force a 3rd down and 10 here.
NC State was just 4 of 13 on 3rd down last week. This is Leary taking off. Middle of the field, takes a couple of hits, driving to the goal line, and in for the touchdown. A determined and rugged run from Leary from 12 yards away.
Well, they'll tell you that Devin Leary is really special when it comes to behind-the-scenes leadership. This run right here is on display for the whole world to see. A design quarterback run right up the gut, and he's not going to be denied. And in the red zone, the Wolfpack finishing on that drive to make it 10-0.
Christopher Dunn now 174 of 174. Point after touchdown. Let's go down to Lindsay.
Well, Bates, you sort of just touched on it, the behind-the-scenes leadership of Devin Leary. He certainly looks pretty comfortable here early, but speaking with Coach Doran yesterday, he said, you know, one of the things that's really impressed him about Leary has nothing to do with his play on the field. It's his behind-the-scenes leadership. Over the summer, he actually took Demi Sumo Kongbe under his wing to watch summer film. I got a chance to speak with Devin, and he told me he must have done a good job because by the end of summer, Demi was reaching out to him to watch film. But Coach Doran said, you can see it in the guys' eyes, the way they respect Devin and how they're willing to go to war for him. Tom?
Lindsay, you're right. What a run, Bates. Bouncing off of Buccaneers on his way to the goal line and end zone.
Yeah, and just to follow up on what Lindsay was saying, that, you know, a very unselfish guy. And these college kids, they, you know, they're only human. They want their free time. But Devin Leary put all that extra time into his teammates, into his receivers, into the backs like Sumo. Just trying to get everybody better, a team player, and just oozing with confidence. Sometimes a little bit too much, but you needed it right there.
No return from Ruff. 3rd career rushing touchdown for Devin Leary. That was impressive. And now we'll see if the Charleston Southern offense can respond. Leary threw a lot of TD passes last year, Bates. Not so much getting in the end zone with the feet, but he did it there. And he did it with toughness and strength and determination.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about him. He's a fearless quarterback. And, you know, next time he's out there, I got a fun story to share that Tim Beck shared with us yesterday about that confidence.
Ruff on the run, swarmed, loss of 2. Jalen Scott, number 2 for the Pack.
And you know what? Unfortunately for the young man TJ Ruff, I have a feeling that there's going to be a whole lot of this today. But you have to come back to it. You have to make them think that, hey, they can run it, and we can't give them 10 yards. We can't give them a freebie first down, letting them run it right up the middle. We got to keep an eye on that running back. They got to do it.
That was the first rushing play of the game for Charleston Southern. Quarterback got hit, ball's on the turf. Drake Thomas on the cover. The officials are saying that NC State has the football.
A fumble recovered by the defense.
NC State defense forced 2 turnovers last week. This hand looked to be coming forward. They'll review it. And the Buccaneers already charged with a review that didn't go their way earlier. There's Price with the big hit.
The ruling on the field of a fumble recovered by the defense is under further review.
Steve McBride is our replay official. Once again, you must have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call, which on the field is fumble by Charleston Southern, recovery by Drake Thomas and NC State.
Trevally Price is the defender and does an excellent job of getting in there. And here comes this pressure. Tony Gibson calling for some sacks, more negative plays. They had 0 sacks last week. Let's see if this turns into a sack and a fumble, a forced fumble, or if it's just what I have is the 3rd quarterback pressure of the game. And they've certainly put some pressure in the backfield and have penetrated the backfield of this CSU offense. And Dave Dorn looking for a sack here today after this review.
You mentioned those interceptions, James. Tyler Baker-Williams and Shaheem Battle had the picks last week against the Pirates in the 21-20 victory.
Yeah, Tyler Baker-Williams was a nice play. It's fun to watch guys. You can just tell they're playing exactly how they're coached. And Tyler Baker-Williams on his, the ball was underthrown a little bit, but he was just right there in phase, in good position. The receiver's eyes get big. He snapped that head around the ball, sitting there waiting on him. 4th career interception for him.
Trevally Price, James, the redshirt freshman, with the play.
Yeah. Coming from that other side is C.J. Clark, Ross Malmgren. We started game 2, the quarterback for CSU in 2019 broke his ankle early in the game, played almost a full half with the broken ankle, but went into halftime and just swelled up, and he hadn't played much since then.
After review, the quarterback had control of the ball with the hand moving forward. It is an incomplete pass. 3rd down.
The official word from Jeff Knight. So there is no turnover or fumble from Malmgren. And all of a sudden, James, a light mist starting to fall here at Carter Finley Stadium. 75 degrees as we play.
He doesn't care.
Light breezes, 8 to 10 miles per hour. The humidity is up, close to 90%. Lindsey Rowley can attest to that down on the sidelines.
Buck's got to be careful here. Starting to get a little bit wet. You dodged a bullet. No fumble right there. Be safe. Don't turn it over here deep in your own territory. Be careful. Don't force it.
3rd and long. Incomplete as it hits the turf. TJ Ruff was the receiver. 4th down for the Buccaneers. Tanner Engel back there, the senior from Orlando, Florida. Part of this highly decorated linebacker crew for NC State. Missing Peyton Wilson today.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I like watching 11 run.
You were really bummed out not being able to watch Peyton Wilson.
I was. I think he would have gone if they felt like they had to have him. But Drake Thomas and Isaiah Moore, that's a pretty good backup.
Wilson missed all but 2 games last year. That was a close call there, and a flag is out on the Gelb punt. 45 yards with over 4 seconds of hang time. There is a penalty marker. That got hairy back there around Gelb. They tried to rip his shirt off, James.
Well, and it's a punt block unit, Tom, that they've had success. They've had success, so they're gonna be hungry. They want to go get another one. They know how it feels. It was blood in the water,
into the kicker,
so to speak.
Defense number 95. The penalty is declined. 1st down.
So very upset, Autry Denson and company on that Charleston Southern side, because it wouldn't have given them the 1st down. Had it been a personal foul roughing the kicker. And that's what he's arguing, because it's, you've got to protect that punter's leg. It's, he's exposed, and here they run into him, And this is, remember, last week, a punt block for a touchdown. The last game of what ended up being the last game of last year against North Carolina, punt block for a touchdown. I believe the number is 5 games this special teams unit has scored for NC State going back to last year. So they're like the sharks in the water. They smell that blood, they want some more, but you can't cost your team. You talk about getting lucky there. A couple penalties already that have kind of like stalled some drives. And, you know, had that one been a big one that gave CSU a first down, they would have heard about it at halftime from Coach Dorn.
Leary, secure pocket, incomplete pass. We were talking about their effort, James, last week on special teams. Josiah Previllen, who is normally a receiver, had the block of a punt late in the first quarter against ECU, and it was recovered by Sean Brown in the end zone to get those points on the board. They also had the 2 interceptions, so the defensive effort last week was exactly what they needed to win that game against East Carolina.
Todd Goebel, the special teams coordinator, has done a fantastic job.
Sumo Kongbei. First down, NC State, 44-yard line. Nick Perry on the tackle and 11 yards for Sumo.
Well, watch 50, Grant Gibson. Right there, just driving his guy out of the picture. Already earned his degree in business administration, strictly business. Running things right there. That NC State offensive line.
4 carries for 32 yards for Kongbei, trying to add to it across midfield. Another first down to the 40-yard line. Demi Sumo Kongbei. Kennedy and Silvera on the tackle and 14 yards.
This time, not only is it that big offensive line, but it's the guys on the perimeter. Let's watch them inside first. There they are, the big bodies getting up and going. Look at them banging. That's Tim McKay, who had a great week last week. Expected to see him a lot more. Already getting involved. And then the receivers finishing the play and staying on their blocks. And that's how you get the big hitters. That's how you get those 25-yard runs like we saw Sumo Kongbei get last week. They got a block on the perimeter, and they sure were right there.
DeMarcus Jones, number 28 on the carry. A modest gain. Officially no gain on the play for Jones. As NC State is working on a 10-game home winning streak, second longest in school history. Their last loss at home, James, November 6th, 2020 against Miami, 44-41. And the school record is 16 games in a row at home.
Dave Doran has now been here 10 years.
Amazing.
How about that?
I asked him about that at media day, shook his head, couldn't believe it. Was in a little bit of disbelief last week as well as they escaped Greenville, North Carolina. That's 12 yards on the run. DeMarcus Jones getting into the act for the Pack.
Gain of 12 yards.
DeMarcus, another sophomore. So you've got a junior in Houston, a sophomore in Demi Sumo Kongbei. And here on the draw, a nice job by the offensive line. Again, really owning the middle of that field right now in the running game.
Leary on target near the 26-yard line. Devin Carter, the junior from Clayton, North Carolina. Cameron Smith on the tackle at 6 yards to Carter.
You know, but one thing Charleston Southern has done, and when you're in these types of games, you have to make these offenses earn it. Make them chip away and work their way down the field. That's where you can get more mistakes that come around. Fortunately for NC State, there haven't been too many to start this first quarter. I know it. It's, oh, what's that, girl? You ready for the second quarter? Well, guess what? It's coming back right after this. NC State up 10-0.
10-0. It's time for our first quarter stats, and they're brought to you by the Georgia Drives Chevy Dealers.
Yeah, and on top of all of this, you look at time of possession. How about this? NC State had the ball over 11 minutes, under 4 minutes for Charleston Southern. 0 of 3 on third downs. CSU needs to find a way to stay on the field. Pretty good job by the defense to get off.
On 2nd and 6, feeling the pressure, got it away. Down by the 5. Flag comes out. Was that picked off near the goal line by Kennedy? Out near that 5-yard line. The ball appeared to ricochet. The penalties, the indication the penalty's going to be against Charleston Southern.
Yeah, and it came late. I think they're going to call Yeah, he's early. It's a good call. It's an unfortunate break for Charleston Southern.
Pass interference. Defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Yeah, so you think you're going to get the football. Instead, you give them 15 yards closer to the end zone. And just too early, playing catch-up. And a good job. When you're beat, you put your head down, and you just try to get involved, get in the thick of it. But running into the body right there and interfering with the pass, Buxy Silvera is flagged on the play. And, and right there, here they're going back to Tootle. It just shows you, Penix was looking to be such a big part of this offense. Hopefully he gets healthy here soon.
Houston weaving his way, spinning and diving. 8 yards on the run, Jordan Houston.
A good problem to have for a football team, for an offensive coordinator, when you've got competition, healthy competition at any position, especially at that running back position. And you got to go over there and sit and watch your other guy be successful. Hey, you love it, but you also want to be the guy carrying the rock, and that's what you're seeing right there. Nice hard run by Jordan Houston.
Whistles before the snap. Flag is out. Leary, by the way.
Ball start. Offense number 52. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Come on, Timmy McKay. We're trying to brag on you, big man. 315-pound sophomore. Coach was really fired up about the way he played at tackle last week against ECU. And said we'd see him quite a bit here today. And we've already seen him do some good things, but this has got to be corrected. These little penalties, they may seem little, but to kill the momentum when you've got a defense on their heels, costly, especially as you get deep into this season.
Houston trying to follow his blocks down near the goal line. About the 2-yard line for Jordan Houston. Silvera, Bell in on the tackle, 2 yards. Leary, by the way, 73 yards passing, using 6 different receivers in the first quarter as Houston comes to the sidelines. Leary with the rushing touchdown for his coach Dave Doran. 12-yard run in the first quarter.
Sumo Kongbe in there on that 4th down that was stuffed the goal line stand last week. There's a 3rd and inches now.
2 for 4 on 3rd down. And running it in is Leary. Second rushing touchdown of the game from 2 yards out.
This one a little bit easier than touchdown number 1, huh? Just reading that end, and he collapses down trying to stop what he thought was the running back with the football, and an easy trot into the end zone for big number 13.
Done for the extra point. Certain things in life are automatic. That's one of them. Second rushing TD of the game for Devin Leary. Came into the game with 2 in his career. 17-0 NC State.
ACC football is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. The Works Nitro, available at worksnitro.com. And Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Devin Leary, long-distance phone call on the sideline. A couple of short runs, 12 yards and 2 yards.
He's calling New Jersey.
Sicklerville, New Jersey.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
You want a head ball?
Lay it on me, baby.
All right.
Come on.
5-star drive summary. Shoot. Brought to you by Yellowwood. Believe me, it doesn't have a yellow tag on it. You don't want it. Here we go. Take a look at it. Devin Leary capping it off with his second touchdown run of the game. 9 plays, ate up 4:19 on that clock. And they had the ball for over 11 minutes in that first quarter alone. And you mentioned it earlier too, Tom. Just his 4th career rushing touchdown. He's not a speed demon, but he's definitely crafty and hungry enough to hurt you and buy himself some time when it comes to throwing that football.
And James, what did Tim Beck tell us, the offensive coordinator for NC State? Leary tried to win the Heisman in 1 game, and it didn't work last week. They did win the game, 21-20. He looks a lot more composed, confident. Now, granted, It is a step down slightly in competition to the football championship subdivision in Charleston Southern out of the Big South. But you're looking to build confidence early on in the season with the home opener.
Yeah, but careful with that confidence, not too much. And, you know, it was very interesting. Tim Beck said to us, he said a couple weeks ago in camp, he threw a football and he tried to put it over a linebacker where he shouldn't. It was the wrong read. And he said, what are you doing? And he said, I can make that throw, coach. He said, when I heard that, I knew that we had a little bit of trouble, that we had to reel it back in. Yeah, you can make that throw maybe 50% of the time, but that's not the right read. It's kind of like in Karate Kid when Bobby's like, when Sensei tells him he wants him out of commission, he's like, but Sensei, I can beat this guy. I want him out of commission.
Incomplete from Malmgren, looking for Seth Anderson.
And Johnny comes and he tells him to sweep the leg. Man, what a mess. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. That'd be a good theme song for Devin Leary, too. Might have to look at that for his walk-up song. How's that? Thayer Thomas.
Sounds pretty good, Bates.
Yeah, I like it.
Ross Malmgren's looking for a completion. He's misfired in his last 5. Out of that Buccaneer pocket. They'll try to ground with TJ Ruff. Unsuccessfully. Loss of 5. Drake Thomas, 32 in red and white.
High praise from defensive coordinator Tim Gibson. Look at that. He's getting held by the face mask, rips through it, and able to get upfield. And even again, if he doesn't make that tackle, there's nowhere to go for the back but into a sea of white hats. But Drake Thomas strong enough to hold him off and to drop him. There's his brother waiting to get the ball back in his hands. If Drake and the defense can get off the field here on 3rd down and 15 now.
Love the Drake. First team All-ACC last season. 0 for 3 on 3rd down. Malmgren got hit. Incomplete pass. Anderson, the intended receiver. 4th down, Buccaneers.
Yeah, and guess who? Doing it on the ground, and this time with the blitz just a little bit late. Malmgren lucky to get rid of that one. Drake Thomas, the captain. Drake's the captain. Isaiah Moore's the captain. And if you're just joining us, Peyton Wilson, not available for this game with the injured shoulder. I hope he gets healthy and stays healthy when he gets back out there. But a good job by his teammates here today.
Yeah, Wilson's fought knee injuries, James, in 17 and 18. Hopefully he'll have a speedy return. This is Thayer Thomas trying to run it wide. Breaks the tackle across midfield and to the 45.
How's that for complimentary football? Brother goes out there and makes some plays. Little bit of fight in little brother as well. 17-0 right now, Wolfpack.
When it comes to
leading Charleston Southern, I'm Lindsay Rowley down on the sidelines. Well, the Thomas brothers have already had a huge impact here today. Thayer Thomas just actually got his team good field position. I spoke with Thayer earlier this week, and he said it's been amazing playing with his brother on the same team. The boys are from Raleigh, so they're able to have their family come to a lot of the games. I also spoke with Drake, and he was telling me it's kind of like a dream come true to be able to play with his brother. He said it wasn't really in the plans. They didn't design it that way, but they couldn't be happier. It kind of made me laugh. I asked Drake if he had to pick one guy on the Wolfpack offense he wouldn't want to face. He laughed a little bit and said, actually, I'd have to say it's my brother, but don't tell him.
I like it. Well, his older brother, but he is littler brother. I know I called him the little brother, Lindsay, as we went to break there, but the graduate player, student Thayer Thomas, and just a junior Drake, and guess what? Baby brother, little brother Lex Thomas, a quarterback. We're going to have all these positions covered, has committed to play for NC State. So a future player here wearing the red. Their dad played at Marshall. He's an offensive line coach back at their high school. So all in the family, Lindsay.
Leary launches it. Carter was well covered. Cameron Smith, closest defender.
And again, Charleston Southern making sure they keep a lid on it. It's, don't give up those explosives. Make them earn their way down the field. And still, NC State would like to have a few of those in their back pocket. They haven't had the big explosion play really set this stadium alight here and get them going, get them all fired up with 12:01 left here in this second quarter. They're still going to try to hit those deep threats. Good job is keeping the lid on right now and not giving up the big play.
Leary, touch on that one. Houston on the run. Down to the 25-yard line. Hombre Kennedy on the tackle. First down Pack.
Yeah, I believe it's Jordan Livingston out here, the defensive back. Yeah, look at him. How'd you like to be that dude? He's 170 pounds, and he's got two big, bad offensive linemen. Take your pick. Oh, man. They just ate him up out there, leading the way. These backs, man, they got to like that escort that they get every time when those linemen get outside the block for them.
23 yards, previous play. Throw to the end zone. Back to the end zone catch. Jordan Houston. 24 yards and a Wolfpack TD.
Houston lined up right there in the backfield. Little play fake. They slip him out. Wheel route. If you're late there, you're not going to stop Jordan Houston, especially when that ball's thrown perfectly by Devin Leary. And how about that for the big play that they're looking for through the air to number 3.
24-0, James. Wolfpack in the first half.
Houston, we don't have any problems here. We're looking pretty good right now. Up 24-0 here in the second quarter.
From Devin Leary, 24 yards and the first receiving TD of his career for Jordan Houston. And now Leary has 2 rushing TDs and a passing TD just a moment ago. 10 completions for the game for Leary. 7 different receivers. 47 yards on the drive, less than a minute, James.
Spreading it around, and he finds a guy who was a track star in his youth, and one of the fastest kids in the country, talking 10 years old. Just a blazer, and when he gets out there on that wheel route and the linebacker forgets about him, it's over.
24-0, Wolfpack. Trying to win their 13th straight home opener. No return from the Bucks. And we have a message now from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
So the batteries for NC State fully charged. The Bucks looking to get some traction. They are 0-1 on the season. Lost last Saturday to Western Carolina. That was a home game in North Charleston, South Carolina.
It's got to feel a little frustrating. You know, like when your cord on your iPhone doesn't quite work, but you need a lot of juice. That's where that defense has to feel right now. This offense needs some first downs. They got to give them a breather.
No breather. Nope. Surrendered.
Nope.
Ingle. Nothing on the play. Cale Anderson made the catch. Ingle up in his grill.
No rest for the weary, I guess. Pressure was coming. Get rid of the football. The completion is there, but not much to show for it. Good in the open field, getting back to what he does best. In his 31st start here, 5th season for Tanner Ingle. Enjoyed watching him play. Watched him ever since he was a freshman. No gloves.
Malmgren gets rid of it at the 30. Connects with the receiver, Caden Jordan. Sure-handed, the junior from Tampa, Florida, has a first down. And the first catch for Caden Jordan.
That's all you need. He had a catch for 55 yards last week. Does a good job of setting up shop right in that zone, middle of that zone where the chains are. Here he is again.
Nice grab over the middle, right near the Tuffy logo. Ingle stopped him. 16 yards on the pass from Malmgren. There is a flag way behind the play.
There is no foul in the play.
No, there isn't, Tom.
I take that back. I sit corrected.
There was one, but they're not going to do anything with it. How about that? Well, there you go. Back-to-back first downs. This is what you needed. It just, you know, well, Autry Denson, again, well, I thought there was a flag, and I didn't see it. But perhaps was Malmgren hit as he let go of the football? He's been popped a few times, and all within the rules. I didn't see it that time. Denson sure seemed to think differently. But nonetheless, his offense, back-to-back first downs and back-to-back receptions for Caden Jordan.
16 yards on the previous play. Malmgren again unloads. Too far for the receiver. Flag is out. NC State had a chance at it as well. There's a flag to sort out. That's Devin Boykin.
Pass interference. Defense, number 3. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
Here you go. That's Aiden White, the corner out there, and again, it's the cushion. When that cushion breaks down to about 2.5 yards, you better already be turning those hips. If I'm even, I'm leaving as a wide receiver. And again, Aiden White knew that. And we said it earlier for CSU. This time he's just saving a touchdown. So a smart play.
Moore with the pressure. Malmgren got it away and complete.
Yeah, a little bit of a hold on Moore as he tried to break free. He was through there in a hurry, and luckily for Malmgren and this Buck offense.
Durden as well, James in pursuit.
Here you see Moore from his linebacker spot. Matthews hanging on tight. No flag, no foul, I guess. Again, that time not even one on the ground. There he is, Isaiah Moore. 44th start here today. And his degree in the summer of 2021, communication.
Played only 6 games a season ago because of a knee injury. Back at full force defensively for NC State.
Yeah, he was 6 tackles, a tackle for loss, and the opener last weekend.
That was deflected. Pass by Malmgren deflected. Drake Thomas with a piece of that one.
You see, coming in, Isaiah Moore was lined up wide and came off the edge. And there you see these cornerbacks, these defensive backs, locking down these receivers both sides. Nothing for Malmgren except for that turf. Incomplete. Let's see if they can get their first third down conversion of the day. And let's see what Tony Gibson draws up here on a 3rd down and 10.
0 for 4 on 3rd down for the Bucks. No flags, 0 for 5. Sadly, Anderson couldn't catch up with that one from Malmgren. Derek Pitts Jr. in coverage. Autry Denson's team is facing a 4th down.
Yeah, Clay Custer, the offensive coordinator, and Autry Denson leaving him out there. Careful NC State. Jumping off sides won't give them a first down, but still cut it in half. So hold your water and know where they're trying to break those routes off at. Right at the 25-yard line. Know where you are on that football field. And be smart defensively. Keep them in front of you.
5 of 16 a year ago on 4th down for the Bucks. The pressure, the pocket collapses. Malmgren had defenders draped all over him, including Savion Jackson.
Yeah, they bring the blitz this time, and Savion Jackson and company just getting to him. Malmgren nowhere to go but the turf. A few times too many on that track.
Autry Denson's team trails 24-0 here in the 2nd quarter. There was heavy contact around Malmgren.
Well, you see there, just the one finger face mask pulled down by Savion Jackson. Autry Denson has been in the ear of the officials the entire break, because there you see it right there, and it could have been called, but missed by this officiating crew. And so instead of a first down with a penalty flag, it's a turnover on downs and a nice stand on 4th down with the pressure by Savion Jackson for NC State. Savion wearing that big number 9, which means a lot around these parts. Mario Williams, Bradley Chubb, both first-rounders to wear that number 9 in their playing days here in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So that was a 4th and 10 play for Autry Denson's team. Turnover on downs to Devin Leary at NC State. 2 rushing TDs and a passing TD for Devin Leary. It's now 53 career TD passes for Leary, 6th in school history. And he is approaching 6,000 career yards passing. Sumo Kangbe. First down. We'll drag a couple of defenders for the ride for 15 yards. Nick Bartolo on the play for Charleston Southern defensively.
Sumo Kangbe played in 6 games last year, all on special teams, just on special teams. And Dave Doran, he was fired up about the way in that ECU game in the opener, he continues to give his all on special teams. Said he ran through 2 blocks, went and made a tackle. When you've got your starters out there competing and scrapping to win in that 3rd phase of the game, it sets up for a good atmosphere in this football team, in this locker room.
He's got another carry. His 7th. There's a flag out behind the play as he fights his way inside the 40. It would be first down yardage, 11 yards. Again, there is a penalty marker back at the 44 of NC State. And it looks like holding.
Holding. Offense number 50, 10-yard penalty, first down.
All on 6th-year center, Grant Gibson.
He's a 3rd-year captain as well, along with Isaiah Moore. That's the first time in school history they've had 2 3-year captains, but he's flagged for the infraction.
Yeah, and it's a shame, too, because he certainly didn't. I mean, he's the bigger body. All he's got to do is just kind of run that would-be tackler up the field. The ball's already past him, but instead he tackles him and costs his team some momentum. It's first down and 20 now.
Sumo Kangbe. Head-on collision at about the 48-yard line. 9 yards on the run.
Out of that pistol look, as a middle linebacker, you're taught so many times in that run game, your first responsibility is the run. So if I'm the middle linebacker, I've got to make sure they're not running the football, but I'm also reading that first step of the back. When he's lined up directly behind the quarterback, like in this pistol situation right here, it's tough to get that first step with him because you can't see him as clearly.
Leary tried to pitch it forward to Tootle right at midfield. Nick Perry was pressing the issue for Charleston Southern. We're being told, James, this is going to be ruled incomplete, and there's the evidence of it.
Yeah. But just to finish up at that middle linebacker spot, so much of your first step, not taking a false step, and if you get off the spot, take a look at this.
I mean, I'm happy to offer my opinion on this one right away, James. Incomplete.
Yeah, save us some time, huh?
But just saying.
But I get to talk linebacker play for a second while they look at it.
Okay.
And Dave Doran, he'll tell you this too. But and so that initial step is so important for a linebacker. Like, I wasn't a really fast runner, but I played a lot of racquetball and grew up in a football family with a dad who's always getting linebacker drills. So I didn't take false steps and got off the spot as they hear this is going to be complete. Listen to my story, not this review. So that's what I prided myself in, because if you get off on the spot and take a correct angle, these big offensive linemen, no matter how good they are, they're not going to be able to get to you. And so that first step is important, but when you're in a pistol look, it drives you crazy because, you're trying to look around that quarterback and you have to wait a beat. And then that offensive line, it gives that offensive line a little bit more time. Kind of like Wake with that delayed mesh would be a big trouble, too, for a linebacker.
That pass is complete at the 45-yard line. Julian Gray on a toss from Leary, and that is first down yardage, 11 yards after the previous play was ruled incomplete. That's a completion for Leary.
Julian Gray, catch number 2 here in this one. And one catch was a nice play last week against the Pirates. And the win that sure feels good here today as we near halftime. A 1-0 football team looking to go to 2-0 before the Texas Tech Red Raiders come blowing into town.
DeMarcus Jones for a yard. James, you did mention Wake Forest a moment ago. Good to see Sam Hartman is back in the lineup after some medical issues with blood clots. And so they're taking on Vanderbilt today. That's a road game for Wake after beating VMI in the first week of the season. Duke and Northwestern are going head-to-head as well. Duke had an early lead in that one, so we'll keep an eye. 10-2 so far, non-conference for the ACC to start this Saturday.
Been doing it with some good quarterback play, and it just got better with Hartman back.
Leary in trouble, out of trouble. Heaves it to the goal line, and caught for the touchdown. Anthony Smith going up to get it. 40 yards on the play.
You wanted some explosive plays? Well, you've got some explosion plays, and it starts with your quarterback refusing to go down, making the blitzer miss. I mean, an open shot for the defender. Could have dropped Devin Leary right there, but he's not having it. Buys some time, launches it up there, and Smith, there's your big play that you've been looking for. First, you hit the Houston with the wheel round 24-yarder, and now a 40-yarder through the air.
6:31 to go in the second quarter and a 31-0 lead.
Sets it up and launches it. And, you know, as a defensive back, Cameron Smith, when you're beat, you've got to just put that head down and find a way to get there. He continued to kind of look into that backfield to see if Leary was going to launch it up there. And by the time he did, it was already there, but it did hang up there for what seemed like a little while. Devin Leary, 2 on the ground, and now 2 through the air.
Just over 3 minutes on that drive. Smith with the TD catch, his third of his NC State career, to make it 31-0. Rushes of 12 and 2 yards for Leary in the first and second quarters, and then the 2 TD passes. So now he's up to 54 career touchdown passes for Devin Leary. Through 35 last year, James, 27 against the ACC. That was the best of any quarterback last year in the conference. And that's saying something in the conference of quarterbacks.
Yeah. And, you know, and what really says something is 35 touchdowns. So, yeah, he can go win you a game, but only 5 interceptions, which means he doesn't lose you the game. He takes care of that football.
6 times for Leary, 300 or more yards in a game passing last season. And last week he threw for 211. While we have a moment, let's get a message from Wrangler.
It's in all of us. The courage to go all in. Wrangler for the ride of life.
Roller skating and riding horses. It looked like a scene from One Tree Hill. But I was going to see Tom Wormy there reporting on the scene. Oh. You're not in that commercial. Are you in that Wrangler commercial?
No, I'm not in the commercial.
First down.
If I was, I'd expect a residual check.
Okay. Well, you really would have pumped it up.
I know. We told you, we told you it's the first ever meeting between the programs. 2016, Charleston Southern went to Florida State and lost that game. That was their last ACC opponent. We told you they played 2 teams out of the Football Bowl subdivision a season ago in East Carolina and Georgia. Vincent Davis on the catch. The Bucks have never beaten an FBS team, James. 0-25.
Well, Tariq Pitts does a good job here to shed his blocker, and then they were bringing some bodies, and a good job to get rid of that ball by Momgren. And you know, if we see this backup quarterback for NC State, Jack Chambers, here in the second half, he's a guy who's seen a couple FBS teams on the road with Charleston Southern to add to that statter.
Anderson on the catch, 4 yards. Davin Van, 45 in red. Watch out.
See, here's the deal. When you can't run the football, him faking that run, it just gives the defense an extra step towards the quarterback. Why even bother faking it if they know you're not going to run it? You're not fooling anybody. So might as well just drop back and throw the football. A play-action pass isn't fooling them right now.
0 for 5 on 3rd down. This one threads between defenders and caught. Seth Anderson up near the 44-yard line.
Nice job. They go to Mr. Motivator. The redshirt freshman had 8 catches, 2 touchdowns against Western Carolina to move those chains.
That previous play, James, was 16 yards, longest play of the game for the Charleston Southern offense. J.D. Moore gets nothing on that attempt.
No, but again, it's put the parrot on my shoulder. It's as silly as it seems, you cannot go away from the running game. And, both offensively and defensively, you know that. You shut down, you make a team one-dimensional. Even if you make it where they can't pass it, they got to run it. Gosh, it makes things easy.
Yeah, that's Moore was the back. The pass complete to Anderson. That's right near midfield. Pitts on the coverage as we go down to Lindsay.
Guys, I spoke with Ross Mellengram and Seth Anderson earlier this week. They definitely both have a lot of respect for each other. Ross told me that they worked together a lot this summer, and he thinks it really helped to improve their connection on the field. Seth told me he puts a lot of pressure on himself, works hard to get open because he knows if he can create a little space, Ross is going to get the ball to him.
All right, Lindsay, well, let's see if they can get it to him here with just 4 yards needed for the first 3rd down conversion of the afternoon. Under 4 minutes left to go in the first half.
Flag is out.
So you had movement on the offensive side of the ball, but was he forced offsides by the defender? Did the defender come across and draw him offsides? A lot of movement back there.
False start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Shane Strand, the transfer from VMI. And man, that's a costly one. Audrey Denson knows it. Trying to do something, get something going, and there you see the movement from NC State, but it was just that, just a little movement. It wasn't like it was orchestrated either. Like you watch that Pitt West Virginia game in week 1, there was some movement going on trying to draw those West Virginia offensive linemen off sides, and it worked a lot, but they finally got flagged for it. So now it's 3rd and long.
Denson was right in the ear of the official. He wants a timeout. So the 45-year-old from Lauderhill, Florida, calls a timeout. All-time leading rusher at Notre Dame, James. 4,318 yards, first in school history. And the MVP of the '99 Gator Bowl on the losing team. Played in 4 bowl games. I had a chance to talk to him for about a half an hour at Media Day for the Big South, which was in Charlotte. And he talked about things way beyond football, because Charleston Southern is all about fellowship and Christian values. It's a very understated campus. It's a special player that goes to Charleston Southern to play football for Audrey Denson.
Well, and what a special opportunity. A lot of times you end up living where you go to school. It wouldn't be a bad life to live in Charleston, South Carolina. What a beautiful, beautiful city. Audrey Denson certainly knows that and leans on us as he recruits these guys from all over, including guys like Ryan Lightfoot from Sevierville, Tennessee, homeboy.
They were 4-6 last year, 3-4 in the Big South. Malmgren buying a little time into a highly congested area, and Cyrus Fagan almost had an interception.
Cyrus losing the chance to go sign that bone, go celebrate. Last time we were here, 2 years ago, we didn't call a game here in Raleigh last season, but last couple years ago, remember they were going through that drought, 19 over into 2020, where they couldn't buy an interception. Also, it was all the noon games and all the locals, like, man, the coach is playing $5 somewhere. But now, they've been finding a way to pick off that ball for their defensive coordinator, Tony Gibson, these days. Would have liked to have had that one.
Thomas has this one. Head of steam. Sideline. Midfield on the return. He just wound it up and let it go. Thomas cutting it loose. 44 on the punt. And 27 yards on the return. Harper made the tackle in special teams for Charleston Southern.
He's just so aggressive when he gets that ball in his hands. And look at all his buddies. All these blocks up the field. Excellent job. Let me make sure I give a shout out to 33 here. Jackson Da Silva, the wide receiver.
And James, number 5 is our hearty star to watch. Performance last week for Thomas. 58 yards receiving and a touchdown in the first quarter.
Okay, let me make sure I take care of our guy here. That's 5. Number 5. Right there. You know, we get the brothers mixed up. That's all right. They're both playmakers. Thayer and Drake.
Leary trying to make a play. Improvising down at the 30, elevating for the grab. Anthony Smith, who has the TD catch in the game. There's a flag on the play.
Holding. Offense, number 54. 10-yard penalty. First down.
6 penalties against NC State so far this afternoon.
Well, Tom, about 3 or 4 on that offensive line. You see Leary just, being able to throw that ball as he launches into the air, kind of an awkward throw, but he can be able to put the touch on it and put it in there. Doesn't matter, though, because we're going back the other way with another holding call on the offensive line.
Mims on the carry for 5 yards. So the rushing game, James, for NC State up over 130 yards in this game against Charleston Southern. That was a bit of a weakness last year. 126 yards per game on the ground, 13th in the conference for NC State. Receiver adjusting to the football at the 45. How about Porter Rooks? 10 yards.
Well, a nice job adjusting. Go back and find that football. Look it in. But as you see here, too, good job by Leary. He couldn't lead him too much because that ball might have been intercepted, so he put it kind of only where he could in that zone.
First catch for Rooks. That one gets rifled down to the 35-yard line to Thayer Thomas. First down, NC State, 10 yards.
Again, look at the protection. See, you don't need to hold, guys. You're holding your own. You don't need to hold them. Get it going and keep it going. You keep that gas pedal down and have a little bit of fun out there. Going to that halftime locker room. Get jazzed for the second half. Don't get in there and get yelled at a little bit for too many flags. You got to keep it cool, keep it clean, right?
164 career receptions for Thayer Thomas as they go to the ground with Mims. Trying to fight his way all the way to the whistle. Now flags are out near that Charleston Southern bench area. There was activity well out of bounds. Lawson Cook is number 25 for the Bucks.
Cook's got to be smarter than that. Originally, watch 32. Get in there and get a piece, and then, you know where you are on the field. It's frustrating.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 25, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
This offense doesn't need any help.
You saw Darius Bell get hold of his teammate at the end of the play and say, we don't need that, certainly.
Right. Bell had the initial lick there on the NC State player. Start by wrapping up. It was a nice job to get there from his own spot. 1:16 left in this half. He's just giving a freebie away with the penalty to help out Leary and the Pack offense.
On the cusp of the red zone. Leary directs some traffic. Now floats one down by the goal line. Lassane was down there. I don't know, James. Not sure about that one. Just trying to get rid of it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, by the time you look at the great protection up front, plenty of time for Leary. There's going to come some late pressure. just avoiding that sack, throwing it out there.
Couldn't throw it off to his left. There was no receiver out there, so that would have been a penalty. 2 for 2 in the red zone of the game for NC State. After the documented struggles a week ago against ECU, a 1-point win. All you need is 1-0 on the ledger. This little pass to Mims, looking for the end zone, front left corner, and he's in for the pack.
You see a running back happy for NC State like that after a big old play, you better believe there's going to be a big offensive lineman down the field. This time it's Dylan McMahon leading the way for Mims. McMahon, the sophomore from Savannah, just getting up and getting all the way down the field to just bury guys after that first wave got him.
So Mims, the senior from Indianapolis, Indiana, on the business end of the pass. 20 yards on the play, and the touchdown for NC State.
Nice play call there, too. You know, it's been a long half for this defense of CSU. Tim Beck calling a little screen there with those big guys. Try to turn and burn and make a play, and those big guys, it's all you can ask of them on the defensive front to just put some pressure on that quarterback. That's why the floodgates open. Nice little touch by Leary, and then Mims doing the rest.
Third TD pass of the game for Devin Leary. And 5 total. A couple of rushing touchdowns to start the game for Leary. 58 seconds to go in the second quarter. The TD pass of 20 yards. So TD passes, James, of 24, 40, and 20 just a moment ago to Mims. The return from Ruff. He's up to 211 yards. That's what he threw for in the entire game against East Carolina last week. Had a touchdown. What could have been a costly late interception, that led to a field goal attempt for East Carolina from 41 yards away with 5 seconds left that the Pirates missed, and they had missed a previous extra point. And there's your final score at 21-20.
Yeah, it's just, that is not like Devin Leary to throw that ball. So able to, you know, not just get back into a rhythm today, but to spread the ball around. I mean, how many different receivers, Freddie, have we seen catch balls today? 8, 9, 10 different receivers in the first half. So sharing the love offensively. There ain't no love from Tony Gibson's defense. Those dogs will hunt. They continue to hunt.
So glad that you've been with us for ACC football for our first half from Raleigh. Tom Worby, James Bates, member of the Florida National Championship team in '96, and Lindsey Riley on the sidelines. It's a first down play for the Bucks. Our outstanding ACC football production crew with you from Carter Finley Stadium, the 129th season of football for NC State in their home opener. Well on their way to their 13th straight home opening victory. And 10-0 if the score holds into the second half for Dave Doran in home openers in his career here in Raleigh.
You talk about this wonderful crew, Tom, and one member of our crew, longtime team member, not with us here today, hoping to have him back soon, is Warner Manning. Get well soon, buddy. We miss you. Hopefully you're watching us.
Our crew is off to Chestnut Hill next week for Maine and Boston College, a prime time start at Alumni Stadium. Jeff Hafley's team at Boston College involved in the only conference game this week against Virginia Tech today. And is in Blacksburg, and that will be the final play of the second quarter. The first half of this game owned by Devin Leary and NC State. How about 5 TDs, 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. for number 13, the junior from Sicklerville, New Jersey, as they hightail it into the locker room after the first 30 minutes of play. 38-0. Montre Denson will have some words of inspiration for his team at halftime, looking for their first ever win against a Football Bowl subdivision team. It will be an uphill climb, to say the least, in the second half for the Charleston Southern Buccaneers, who are 0 for 1 on the season. Let's go down to Lindsey Raleigh.
Thanks, Tom. Coach Devin Leary, 2 rushing touchdowns, 3 through the air. What have you thought of your quarterback so far?
Showing off his legs, you know. Yeah, he's playing good. It's kind of what we would hope we'd see from him. He's doing what Coach Beck's asked him to do. He's giving the ball to his playmakers. He looks in rhythm.
One of the things you talked to me about, you want to see better tackling out of your team this week. What have you thought so far?
It's been pretty clean, you know, a lot better than last week. I mean, completely different than last week. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Guys.
Man, he's fired up, isn't he? Huh? I'm ready to go. Let's go. 38-0. Hey, you got to be feeling pretty good. Hopefully there's a smile back in that locker room after the game. Second half coming up, as well as halftime festivities. All packed in this first half. 38-0. Leary, part of 4 touchdowns there in that first half. 2 on the ground to match his career high coming in. 38-0. Charleston Southern's got some work to do in the second.
It's Ford SUVs.
Toyota dealers from Raleigh, North Carolina. Carter Finley Stadium, the home opener for the Wolfpack, and they dominated that first half. 38-0 is the halftime lead. Let's go around the league and check out some other scores. Miami is one of 5 teams ranked, James, in the ACC this week. Yeah, looking pretty good against Southern Miss. How about the Dukies? Duke on top of Northwestern. Northwestern with that huge win to start the college football season in Dublin over Nebraska. And Duke looking strong again here in week 2. They're in the 3rd quarter. Sam Hartman's back. The 23rd ranked Wake Forest taking it to the boat rowers, as we used to call them, the Commodores there at Vanderbilt. And how about North Carolina after that wild game last week against Appalachian State, which they won, trying to stay undefeated on the season, and they've got a great freshman quarterback as well in Drake May. Yeah, they got to be careful scheduling some of the, to go to App State, to go to ECU. That's a tough game to have on your schedule for these football teams. But fortunately for both teams, they both came out 1-0 in close ones. Okay, so Devin Leary is one of the class of quarterbacks that we have this week, and it seems like every season we have outstanding quarterbacks in this league. These are just a few to take a look at. We've got Devin Leary in our game. Sam Hartman returns from a medical situation to play for Wake. Tyler Van Dyke, so impressive for Miami. And we saw Brennan Armstrong last week. Yeah, and I mean, and that's just because we can only fit 4 on this graphic, I'm guessing. Look at Tyler Van Dyke looking just like Michael Rappaport, but he looks like the best quarterback in the league at times when you look at back there big and strong in that pocket. So good to have Hartman back. You know what Devin Leary can do. We saw Brennan Armstrong live with the new offense, Tony Elliott's and Des Kitchings last week at Virginia, and Robert Anai, his old offensive coordinator that put up all those numbers but also had him throwing it 70 times a game last year, has moved on to Syracuse, where he takes a guy like Garrett Schrader, and Schrader had a great first game against Louisville, the win there. I mean, you go on and on. Malik Cunningham, Drake May. Right. And that's what makes for good, fun football. Anymore, you have to have a good quarterback to be successful. You just have to, and we sure have them in the ACC. Yeah, and Cunningham had a clutch run for a touchdown yesterday in the win against Central Florida, and Drake May was the quarterback of the week and the freshman of the week last week in the ACC, and he's already thrown for 2 touchdowns in their game today. 38-0 on the Toyota Halftime Report.
Chevy Silverado.
This is Driven. Dave Dorn, presented by your local Toyota dealers.
Can you believe that 10 years have gone by? No. Because we remember you came into the league, and let's establish more tradition here at NC State, and here you are a decade later.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I think in this profession, I think I'm 8th in longevity now in the sport for the college football landscape, 2nd in the school history. So I feel very fortunate to have that opportunity, and thankful that NC State wanted me to stay that long. And it's a great place to live, and the people are phenomenal. And we want to bring something to this fan base that they haven't had in 42 years. So the mission isn't accomplished yet, and hopefully this is the year that we can get that done.
Your longevity, your success, what does it say about the environment in Raleigh, North Carolina and NC State?
The culture is really good, and it's not just in the locker room. We're the only staff that had all 10 assistants return. We had very few players leave our roster in the offseason, and a lot of players return that didn't have to. So it's a good place to work, it's a good place to play, and our fans have done a tremendous job supporting the student athletes. So game day is something that's unique for us right now.
Tell me how last year was sort of a validation moment, perhaps, with all the great success you had and the win against Clemson and everything, where we've been working so hard for this, and we finally were able to achieve something like that.
Yeah, I think there was some milestones met last year, being undefeated at home, first time in 35 years, beating UNC, Florida State, Clemson, and Louisville all in the same season. That hadn't happened in school history. And, coming up with a way to finally win that game against Clemson, a great team. Dabo and his staff and their team has been the gold standard, and we've had some great games but haven't gotten it done. So getting over the hump there was a huge thing for our team's psyche, I think.
Do you like the fact that a lot of people are talking NC State football based on what you did last year and the expectations for this season, or would you rather just do your own thing?
Yeah, we're going to use that as a coach. Like, if you think we stink, then we're going to use that. But we have high expectations every year. Like, we don't go in the team room and say, guys, we're going 8-5 this year,
Which is good.
We go in there and say, let's go win every game, and let's try to win this thing. And that hasn't changed. It's just now the public thinks that we can do it. So we got to get it done. We haven't won it yet. It's fun to be in this position. We're excited about the opportunity. We also know that none of those things you guys say about us equal wins, and we got to earn it.
Driven, Dave Dorn is presented by your local Toyota dealers. The all-new 2022 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. Toyota, let's go places.
It's Ford SUV season. Time to gear.
Toyota halftime report presented by your local Toyota dealers. 38-0 is the Wolfpack lead. Devin Leary involved in 5 separate scoring plays. And James, it's been all pack in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, and doing it with his legs as well. He got it going on the ground. Devin Leary will tell you, you never go broke taking a profit. Nothing there. Don't force it. Boom, couple yards on the ground, just chipping away. The offense able to get into a little bit of a rhythm. You heard Dave Doran talk about that going into the halftime locker room with Lindsey Rowley, and that paying off with this nice run. And if this is your quarterback, you think that doesn't fire up the entire team, not just your offense, not just your offensive line, the defense, the special teams. When you've got a guy that's supposed to be the star, putting it all on the line like that, and then able to throw it like this, the nice wheel route to Jordan Houston, his first touchdown catch of his career from 24 yards out. You like 24 yards out, then you're going to love 40 yards out. That's what you got with that touchdown to Smith, and here's a nice screen pass for touchdown number 3 through the air from Leary, and this one goes to Mims. This is why I'm hot, and this is why the score is 38-0 at halftime, NC State.
These are our first half stats brought to you by Bear, and keep in mind, Leary now up to 55 career TD passes.
Yeah, Bear is a paint. They've been painting this field up and down, bright red, feeling a little bit better, but look, therein lies the rub. The penalty, got to cut down on the penalties in the second half. Clean it up a little bit. You're doing good on third down.
Second half is straight ahead. We thank you for watching the Toyota Halftime Report.
Chevy Silver.
Pack up 38-0 before we start the third quarter. We go down to the sidelines and Lindsey Rowley.
Thanks, Tom. Just moments ago, I got a chance to speak with Charleston Southern's head coach, Audrey Denson. I asked him, Coach, what is NC State doing that really is challenging your team? And he said, first and foremost, he said he feels that NC State wants it more. He wants to see the effort take a step forward for his team here in the second half. And he said, in the first half, I feel like our guys played a couple of snaps, but he said he wants to see a much, much better effort here in the second. Guys?
Well, it's consistency. It's defensively keeping those guys in front, which, remember earlier on our call earlier this week, Tom, with Coach Vance, the defensive coordinator, it's like, good play, boom. They hit you with that big one. And it's easier said than done, but they got to get right back to keeping NC State in front of them. And have something go their way, move those chains that they started to do. It wasn't until late in that first half, but they started to do it offensively. Let's see if they can start it with this opening drive of the second half on offense.
86 yards of total offense in the first half for Charleston Southern. They had 4 rush attempts for 0 yards. NC State had 344 yards of total offense. 133 on the ground, and Leary threw for 211 in those 3 TD passes. Cranking up the second half, start of the third quarter. Tom Wormy, James Bates, Lindsay Rowley on the sidelines, and our outstanding ACC football production crew with you. Here in Raleigh, North Carolina, you'll hear us say this from time to time this season, but this is the 39th year of Valley Sports South, Raycom Sports, and your regional sports networks presenting ACC football. And James and I, and Lindsay, proud to be a part of it. Up near the 30-yard line for the Bucks. They got 6 yards on that first down play.
Derek Pitts. I enjoy watching his hustle. Right there, number 24 from that corner spot. You know, you got to be able to cover, but you also have to be physical when called upon and shedding that block going and making a play. Here he does it again. Oh!
Second effort, first down.
Nice job by Roderick Hawkins. Had 1 carry in the loss to Western Carolina last week. And talking up my man Pitts a little bit too early. Puts that head down, and that didn't look as tough right there. Roderick running hard, moving those chains, but here comes a flag.
Pitts had 6 tackles in the first half.
False start, offense number 57, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Now, all these stories with these players. Roderick Hawkins, you look down, you know, TJ Ruff is the featured back here coming in. But Roderick Hawkins is a sophomore out of Tyler, Texas, East Texas. Goes to Tyler High School, then Tyler Junior College, and Hutchinson Community College in Kansas, and now off to Charleston. Just the route that some of these guys take to get to where they are is interesting.
Complete to Vincent Davis. Got blasted but hung on to the football. 8 catches for Davis in the game. Certain bright spot for Charleston Southern. Trailing 38-0 early stages of our third quarter. NC State went 7-0 at home a season ago. That's complete on the edge. Caden Jordan. 7-0 for the Pack, James, for the first time since 1986, and just the 6th time in school history for NC State to go undefeated at home. It appears that they're well on their way to their first home victory of 2022 as well.
Caden Jordan on his way to the sidelines as his helmet popped off after that big lick by Tanner Engel. Great job of reacting and going and making that tackle in open space. A little bit of confusion down there on that defensive front right now.
Nope. Big hit on the quarterback. Malmgren lost his helmet, went down in a heap, and the ball squirted away. And the indication is that NC State has the football.
If that's what it looks like pre-snap when everybody's got their hands up, like, what am I supposed to do right here? Hey, then that'll work. Man, were they coming, and finally they get the big lick. This time it's from Tyler Baker-Williams from his safety spot, who had the interception last week against ECU. And this is a CSU offensive line that gave up 6 sacks last week to Western Carolina. They've had their quarterback pressured quite a bit today, but unable to drop him. Tyler Baker-Williams and company, but they finally get to him, and they just opened up the floodgates, and it looked to be like a little bit of momentum going the way of the Buccaneers to open up the second half, but not anymore after a play like that.
That was a loss of 13 yards. Leary stepping up, throwing to the end zone. Back of the end zone, touchdown grab. Total with the catch for the Pack at 27 yards.
Again, nice protection for Leary to step up into this pocket. And Tootle just the back of the end zone, and not bad coverage either. Tootle at 6'4" goes up and gets it. That ball dropped in there perfectly for him by Devin Leary.
So Leary with his fourth TD pass of the game, and that ties his career for a single game. Career best. They're going to take a look at it. Back of the end zone, Tootle.
I love the play call by Tim Beck. You know, it's a sudden change for that defense. They were expecting to have a couple more plays before they had to go out there. And watch that ball, and it doesn't even seem to move at all. So this play will stand. But Tim Beck, hey, let's go up top. You know, after that sudden change, it's nice when you get those defenders out there, not expecting to be out there that early. And see if you can pop a big one on them. That's what you get right there with 29 in the back of the end zone. After the beautifully thrown ball by Devin Leary.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
So the touchdown confirmed for the Wolfpack. Fifth career TD catch for Tootle. 44-0. Extra point pending. Christopher Dunn.
Hey, Tom, what was my key for NC State?
Capitalize.
That's right, and that's what that is right there after the turnover. They capitalize, and it pays off.
Devin Leary, the NC State Wolfpack has a 45-0 lead in the second half against Charleston Southern. Very special guest has joined us in the booth. Fourth-year athletic director here at NC State, Boo Corrigan. Boo, thank you so much for your time and impressive showing so far from the Wolfpack.
Well, at this point, you guys are invited back whenever you want. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate that. Okay, so last week, let's address that. Close shave, but you come out with the victory, and the coaching staff told us we're humbled by what happened last week, but we're excited about the rest of the season.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you leave 1-0, right? And that's the end of it. You leave 1-0. We know our coaches are going to work with them. We know our players are committed to doing the right things, and that's the escape route. Come back 1-0 feels a whole lot better Sunday morning.
Well, we saw you when you first got to campus about 4 years ago. Since then, pretty much most of the run, the last 3 years, they went more ACC titles than any school, any athletic department. Congratulations for that. And with that come the awards. Congratulations also on Athletic Director of the Year.
It's very nice. It is a group honor, right? I mean, I refuse to look at it and say, look at what I did, because without good people around you, without great coaches and great students, none of it's possible. But you know what? We got a pretty good vibe right now. You know, we really do, and everyone's bought in and feel really good about where we are.
You got a good vibe this weekend here as you try to move to 2-0 on the football field with your football program. I'll bet it's been a fun summer building up to this season, the highest ranking in about 50 years in preseason, and you've got Dave Doran, 10 years now, which is hard to believe, and all these returning guys. It's always fun in the fall when you're winning football games, isn't it?
And I think it really speaks to the culture that Dave's built, right? I mean, he's had time. We stuck with him. We've had the same coaching staff. We've been together for 3 years, and I think it makes you want to be a part of it.
So Charleston Southern with the ball here in the third quarter, 2nd and 7. Boo Corrigan, the athletic director for NC State, has joined us, kind enough to give us some of his time during a football Saturday, the home opener. So much success in openers this season. Boo, I want to ask you, in this time of so much change across the landscape of college football, of college athletics for that matter, and with your connection, your family connection to the ACC, the strength of this conference moving forward, and specifically for NC State?
Well, I think what all of us owe back is to be as good as we can be, right? Where is our investment? Where are we spending time? Where are we putting our efforts? And be as competitive as we can be, both within the league as well as nationally.
Let a big 3rd down and 7 go, and there you go. Somebody's going to sign that turnover. Tony Gibson Boo, he likes to talk about those dogs on defense, and he's had them heating it up front on the quarterbacks and therefore causing turnovers like this one right here. Here's a nice interception.
Tyler Baker-Williams, second interception in as many games, James. Had one against East Carolina last week. And the Pack has the football back on the turnover.
Well, how about, we can't let you get out of here without talking college football playoffs. The committee chair, so, no rest for the weary. You're going to be doing a lot of traveling back and forth. But tell us about, just these last few weeks when we finally learned, everybody else, the public, maybe expanding in the next couple of years to a 12 playoff system.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So the committee that I'm on is the actual selection committee. What we worry about is making sure we've got the right 4 teams, making sure we've got the right 25. There's a whole another management committee that's dealing with the expansion piece of what it is. But, we get to sit around and talk football, week after week after week. And the other 12 members of the committee, and we're in there, and we're watching games, and we're talking about it. Statistically, we have all the information that we need in and around it. But, for 6 consecutive weekends, for Sunday through Tuesday, all we're talking is football. What a great job to have, right?
I'll say. And why? What for you personally? What's one reason why you really feel like this is a great way to go for the future of college football, to add those extra teams?
Well, as the AD at NC State, not as the chair of that committee, but as the AD at NC State, it provides other opportunities, right? When you look at statistically, about 1%, 2% with the 4 teams getting in of all people that play college football, all of a sudden that number goes to 8 or 9%. It opens the apparatus a little bit for us and the opportunity for people to play for a national championship.
Well, Boo, we thank you so much for your time and being such gracious hosts as usual here in Raleigh. It is always a privilege for us to travel to Carter-Finley Stadium to call Wolfpack football
games.
Well,
we appreciate it. I'd be remiss not to mention Annabelle Myers and the job that she does with everyone when they come in. So we appreciate you.
Incredible support staff, and we're always happy to be here at Carter-Finley Stadium. And congratulations on what we think will be the result today against Charleston Southern. And 2-0 and moving forward, good things for this football program.
Go Pack.
All right. Boo Corrigan, the 4th-year athletic director here at NC State, kind enough to join us here in the 3rd quarter. And we thank him very much. Chambers, the backup quarterback, is in. Jack Chambers, who spent the last few seasons at Charleston Southern and led the Big South in total offense a season ago, James, with the Buccaneers.
I actually went to the walkthrough yesterday, the practice that NC State had, and Annabelle Myers, who Boo Corrigan just spoke of, the sports information director here for NC State, introduced me to Jack Chambers. I talked to him for a while. What a great kid. Really enjoyed that visit with the graduate transfer from Charleston Southern.
This is 45 yards away. Done. Money. 2 for 2 in the game. 45 yards and a 46 for Dunn. 48-0. Wolfpack.
Jake from State Farm. I really want that personal price plan, so I'll admit it. I'm a bath bomb guy.
ACC football is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. CPI Security, home security that protects what matters most. And Yellowwood. If it doesn't have this yellow tag, you don't want it.
NC State has scored on 7 straight possessions, and just a moment ago it was the second made field goal on as many attempts for Christopher Dunn. And that takes us right to our Discover the Best, brought to you by the Fresh Market. Involves Thayer Thomas climbing the rankings in career TD receptions here at NC State.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, the guy at the top, Torrey Holt, was his high school coach. Wonder if he ever thought back then when he's catching those balls in high school and learning from one of the greats, he'd be up there at the heels, just on the heels of the great Torrey Holt. Had 8 touchdown catches last season.
A couple of catches in the game for 14 yards for Thomas so far this afternoon. 4 TD tosses by Devin Leary. He's thrown TD passes to Houston, Tootle, Mims, Smith. Spread it around. Spreading the wealth. No return on the kickoff. As we check in with Lindsay with more on Thayer Thomas.
Well, Bates, as you said, Torrey Holt did coach Thayer Thomas in high school. I spoke with Thayer earlier this week. He told me that they still stay in touch. Holt actually has 2 daughters who play soccer at NC State. Thayer said last week he was in the training room after practice, and his old coach came by to say hi and wish him luck on the upcoming game.
Love it. Not far from home, and their dad, who played his football at Marshall, is an offensive line coach on that staff, as we mentioned earlier, Lindsay. The little brother's the quarterback there. You know, a lot of times, Tom, you get like, oh, NC State, boy, they've got quite a pipeline from this Charlotte school, or they've got, oh, man, this school down in Florida. They used to be Auburn, used to go down to Dillard High School down in Fort Lauderdale. They used to have a ton of guys from Dillard. Oh, what a pipeline. But they've got the pipeline with the family. It's not just a school. It's a whole family. They've got all these athletes. And a pretty good family tree. And, man, they've had a lot to do with these winning seasons under Dave Doran.
Never go against the family, Bates. Pass complete to Davis. NC State had not played a Big South opponent since 2009 when they beat Gardner-Webb here at home 45-14. Their last FCS opponent was last season, mid-September at home against Furman, and a 45-7 victory for NC State, which last year went 9-3 and 6-2 in conference play. Unfortunately, their bowl game against UCLA was canceled, the Holiday Bowl. Had nothing to do with NC State, for certain. That's the one thing that Coach Doran told us, James. They'd gone so long without actually playing a game. And the build-up to that ECU game, and it just didn't go as the game plan might have gone for them in Greenville, North Carolina. But as everyone is saying, you want to know, and that's what you were trying to achieve on the road in Greenville. Well, you hadn't had much success. You'd lost 3 of the 4 games at ECU prior to last Saturday.
And this is a very talented ECU team. Look for them to win a lot of football games this year. Very athletic and very physical defensively. You know, when you go into that hornet's nest, like we talked about North Carolina going to App State last week, and they've got that target on you all summer long, look out. But right now, these guys are looking pretty good, looking to move to 2-0 before Texas Tech comes to town.
The home opener at Carter Finley Stadium. Dave Doran has never lost one, and it appears he will go 10-0 in home openers. 4 touchdown passes by Devin Leary. And that takes us to our game summary, brought to you by Green Machine, Bates.
Well, and the thing that stands out the most to me, and, you know, the turnovers now have started to come into play as Charleston Southern has turned it over twice, but they're also turning it over by not being able to stay on the field with those 3rd downs. Only 1 of 10, and it's not just Charleston Southern's inability, but it's this Wolfpack getting after it for their defensive coordinator, Tony Gibson.
So Leary now with 56 career TD passes. That is 6th on the all-time list.
So looks to be done for the day. And his 22nd start, Devin Leary, after quite the first half and a little bit of change into the second. And as we mentioned earlier, here comes a guy who played for 2.5 years there in Charleston, South Carolina, Jack Chambers.
Don't forget Leary, limited action, James, in the COVID season of 2020. Played just 4 games after sustaining a leg injury. So making his way back through last season when they went 9-3. Had the win against Clemson in double overtime. Leary threw 4 TD passes in that one too, and 2 in the overtime periods against the Tigers, who at the time were number 9 in late September, 27-21. Last year a banner season for NC State. Could this year be even better, James? And I would point to a particular date on the schedule. That's going to be a first down. I know nobody looks past Texas Tech. They've got UConn after that. And then October 1st on the road, Clemson, South Carolina.
Yeah, and that has turned into quite the clash of the Titans, and that will be must-see TV to watch that one. And you've got to stay healthy. You talked about Devin Leary and his injury a couple years ago. How about the injuries to this defense last year? There's a nice job penetration, and able to drop Mims. This CSU defense, did they knock it out, Tom? Yes, they did. How about that?
Despite trailing,
fight.
yeah,
Yes.
despite trailing 48-0, knocking that one free, separating ball carrier from football.
Look, Sherry Jefferson out of Orlando Edgewater, an excellent high school program down there in Orlando, Florida. He's made some big plays with penetration in the backfield a couple times here today. And he's back there involved in this one. And look at these guys continuing to fight. Sherry's the first one back there. Ball comes out. And here you give your offense a chance. We're going to take a look at it. Siobhan Fields recovering the fumble, rather.
Review is underway.
Let's see what we can see here. Ball's out. Ball's out. So this should stand as a fumble. Looked like Sega in there to help with the hit as well. Sega and Jefferson combining on that stop, and we got to take care of Anton Williams, a graduate player for CSU from Marianna, Florida, over in the Panhandle.
So the NC State home winning streak, in all likelihood, is going to go to 11 games. Now, that's 5th longest in the Football Bowl subdivision. The Clemson Tigers, who we told you, NC State goes on the road to play Clemson this year in a few weeks. The Clemson Tigers have won 34 in a row at home, James. It's probably going to be 35. They are taking on Furman today. So just put that in perspective. I mean, 34 in a row.
After review, drilling on the field stands. First down, Charleston's up.
All right, well, this is an NC State defense. Make no mistake, yeah, you're right. It's probably going to move to 2-0 right here, and what is it, 11 straight at home?
Yes.
But this right here means everything to this team in this locker room. Every time you get in these situations, these guys that are backing up a lot of the starters, it's on them to preserve that goose egg. You don't want anybody to come in and score against you if they don't have to. So a big series right here for both sides.
Over the middle, that's incomplete. 3 defenders in the vicinity for NC State.
You know, these backups in there now, you know, guys like Betty, like Boykin, they're really high on a lot of these guys. Guys like Caden Fordham, a redshirt freshman from Ponte Vedra, Florida, went to Bowles High School, or the Bowles School as they call it. But his dad, Todd, played at FSU, played 10 years in the NFL as an offensive lineman. Coach Gibson said, I can't wait to watch him play a lot tomorrow. There he is, 41.
Anderson on the reception. Pitts defending. It's 5 catches for Anderson.
Anderson, they were talking about his toughness the other day. He played his whole senior season with a stress fracture in his foot. All right, so sudden change for this defense. They do pretty good on the first couple snaps. Let's see if they can get off the field here.
Pass behind the receiver. It was Anderson who couldn't get to that one. Too far behind him. It's going to be 4th down for Charleston Southern. They go on the road next week against Eastern Kentucky. And their first Big South game will be October 8th at Campbell. That's about 30 miles south of where we are right now. Babish, 41 yards away. Boom. 48 yards officially on the field goal. Sam Babish, who made a 50-yarder last week against Western Carolina. It was 6 of 12 last season.
There goes that shutout. I'm not sure. They wanted it as much as that defense, didn't they? You know, great kick, man. Had plenty of leg right down the middle. Let's get it down to Rowley.
We're talking about Seth Anderson earlier and how he had that stress fracture his whole senior year. The coaching staff said, man, they knew he was fast, but then when he was healthy, they couldn't believe how fast he was. I guess it runs in the family, considering Seth's father is Flipper Anderson, who played in the NFL in 1989. Flipper was playing for the Rams and set the record for most receiving yards in a single game with 336.
How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot of bloodlines here. That is just craziness.
Great stuff, Lindsey Rowley.
And you know what was funny is his offensive coordinator, Clay Coster, we said, tell us a little bit more about Seth. He said, well, this may sound weird, but he's got a great smile. And I get it. I mean, it's nice when you got someone who's always got a nice smile on their face. Happy people. It's good to be around happy, positive people. And many more years to play there, Seth Anderson, just a freshman.
Gray to receive for NC State, leading 48-3. Fair catch made. 7:35 to go in the third. Well, we have a moment of message from Green Machine.
With our 62-volt battery-powered blower in your hands, you are a machine. So power the machine with Green Machine. Available online at HomeDepot.com.
I wish my voice was like that, Bates.
I wish I had a Green Machine blower.
Wow. The Green Machine. Yeah. It's the red machine today, Bates.
Yeah, it is. And it's a machine. I mean, look at this. With 7:30 left in the third quarter, you know, and you've got a chance to rest a lot of those starters. And, you know, we mentioned Penix. It'll be a while, it sounds like, before he gets back. But probably a team that's going to have linebacker Wilson back next week. And hopefully he can stay healthy. And, you know, it's hopefully a team that you need some luck. When you know, these championship seasons, these seasons that when you're successful, you need luck in college football. That's all there is to it. I mean, look at the luck that they had last weekend to win that game, the missed extra point and the missed field goal, but you'll take it. Okay, so you're 1-0, but as much as that, you need to stay healthy. And they'll move the chains right here on a second down. Nice little zip on that ball from Jack Chambers. And you know, a lot of times it's just things that you cannot control, and that kind of is what leads up to these coaches. There's nothing that's easy on these coaches anymore, but the decision, I think, in two-a-days, how physical are you going to be? How many times are we going to tackle guys to the ground and go full speed? You're only allowed a couple scrimmages as it is. Nice hard running by Jones there, DeMarcus Jones, the sophomore. But, you know, we talked about it with Dave Doran, and he said, well, look at it last year. You know, we've got, by the end of the year, 6 starters on defense that were done for the season. All of these injuries that have built up the last couple of years. So now, on top of that, you've got great experience. So, of course, you're going to rest them a little bit, not try to bang them up too much during two-a-days. But therein lies the rub. As Chambers is dropped as he tries to get to that first down stick. A nice job there. Again, penetration by Sherry Jefferson. So what happens, you get to a game like an ECU game, and you know you're going to get physical smash mouth game, but you haven't had a ton of it in camp because you're trying to stay healthy. You're trying to get through camp with healthy bodies. Wow, and so, I mean, what do you do? And just all you can do is say, hey, we're lucky to come out of there with a win, learn our lesson, and know what it takes to win football games in college football week in and week out. I don't care who you're playing.
Now, they did make some plays in that game. Chambers unable to make a play on that one. There'll be no gain. They blocked a punt late in the first quarter, James. That resulted in a touchdown covered in the end zone. And they had a couple of interceptions as well. And that's 6 straight games with an interception last week, going back to last year. LaRon Davis is down for Charleston Southern, so they'll attend to him with 5:13 to go in the third.
Yeah, LaRon Davis, a redshirt freshman, and just as we're talking about some of these injuries, you hate to see one there for Autry Denson's team. And there he is, 92 in the middle, pursuing that ball, and just really runs into his own player, runs into his lower body there. Hopefully LaRon Davis is okay. Out of Daytona Beach, Mainland. That's where Vince Carter plays his high school ball.
NC State built a 38-0 halftime lead. Charleston Southern able to get on the board with a field goal here in the second half. They struggled through the 20 season like everybody else. In fact, played in the spring of 21, only 4 games for the program, and 4 and 6 last year in total.
Yeah, tied for third in the preseason poll.
Good to see here.
Yeah,
Davis is helped up. Oh, he's going off under his own strength.
Okay.
Good sign. This program made the FCS playoffs, James, back in 2016. Lost in the first round to Wofford out of the Southern Conference by a point. 2 times they've been champs of the Big South. Out of the football championship subdivision. And it appears, according to Buch, Oregon, the football bowl subdivision's going that way, expanding the playoff. 12, James? I don't know.
What? You don't know? You want more? You want less?
I want less, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, you know.
What do you think?
Well, interesting point brought up by Nick Saban on it yesterday. He's like, nobody cares too much. These players, they're bowing out of these bowl games. So why not make them all playoff games? Make them all mean something, and you'll get everybody's best shot come postseason. I thought that was an interesting way to look at it.
My point is, though, when you get down to the end of a college football season, I don't know that there are 12 teams deserving to be in that group.
Okay.
And it's different than basketball, by the way.
Number 11, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
They thought they had one on them here. You know what? That too, I think, is a very good point, because let's say this 10th seed, whoever that just sneaks in, and then you hit a couple teams that are banged up at the end of the year, and I know but I do like that it's expanding a little bit, and it's here he talks about the ACC, and there was a while there where it felt like, gosh, is anybody but Clemson ever going to represent? And you've got a lot of that in college football.
Fair catch from Davis. It's a 51-yard punt. 4.7 seconds of hang time. James, it's time for our Max Performance. And it's brought to you by Z-Max. Devin Leary tying his career high.
Devin Leary.
with 4 TD passes. No, it's not.
It's Brennan Armstrong.
We just want to see if you're paying attention.
All right, you know
and
what?
you were.
They're both.
That's okay.
They're both tough as nails.
They got those nice red beards going too, right?
I would like to have either one of them as my quarterback. That's for sure. And and both of them are going to be player of the game many times throughout this season. And Larry doing it not just with his arm, not just with his legs buying time, but with his legs running for touchdowns and yards here today. An outstanding performance, and gets to shut it down early and rest up a little bit in this one. There we go. That's the
Red Beard Brigade, led by Devin Leary and Brennan Armstrong.
Yeah.
But the numbers are correct, and they're not outstanding, James. They're solid. They're exactly what he needed. And he did tie his career high with the 4 TD passes.
Yep, and tied his career rushing touchdowns coming in with his 2 on the ground. Yeah.
And his first rushing TD, James, of 12 yards, he got hit 3 or 4 times on the way to the end zone.
Yeah. And I mean, it kind of set the tone. Like, hey, I'm still your guy. We're not going anywhere, and we're going to get that bad taste out of our mouths. Last week, we got the win, but it wasn't what we expected. So let's all get involved, and everybody got involved. Over 10 different receivers he threw to here today, and here's another big 3rd and long for CSU.
Isaiah Best, the backup quarterback, on the run and dropped near the 20. Now, we certainly did expect an NC State win, just based on the level of competition. And that's going to be 10-0 for Dave Doran. The prior 9 games were by an average of 21.4 points in those victories. This will be a little more lopsided with 3 minutes and change to go in the 3rd.
Number 19, David Gelb on the pod for Monday.
Gelb is into punt. Jalen Coit, demonstrative fair catch indication, and made successfully at the 35-yard line after a punt of 43 yards. Next up for NC State, it's going to be Texas Tech next Saturday at 7 o'clock. And don't forget, stick with us after the 3rd quarter for the 4th, starring James Bates, who's played that role to critical acclaim over the years. It's brought to you by CPI Security, protecting what's important. NC State protecting the home turf today, James. Really never in question.
Yeah, and Jack Chambers in there, and a lot of those starters sitting over there with their ball caps on.
Chambers, diving attempt inside the 20. Anthony Smith, all-out effort, and the pass was just about on schedule for Smith. So close.
Plenty of time, and Chambers launches it up there, and oh man, gosh, beautifully thrown football. And that's a tough catch. And anytime you lay out like that, it's tough to pull it back in. But coulda, shoulda. That would have been another big explosive play to add to the list today.
Smith has a 40-yard TD grab to his credit this afternoon. Physical play near sideline. Mims. It's an 8-yard run for Mims, and he earned every inch of it. So Texas Tech is next, James, right? Next Saturday for this NC State program. They lead that overall series 4-1. The last meeting, you go all the way back to 2003, and they won at home against Texas Tech 49-21. In 2002, they played into overtime. NC State won that one 51-48.
Out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
T.A. McClendon rushed for 5 TDs. Phillip Rivers was the quarterback for NC State at the time. So they played some wild ball games, and they're going to crank it up again next Saturday.
It'll be a fun one to watch. It's
Lubbock, Texas, James, the destination.
Oh, have I been saying, are I thought they were at home next week.
No, it is home.
Okay,
it is home,
okay,
but Lubbock is where Texas Tech is.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh,
it's home.
I know where that is. My dad used to coach at Texas Tech.
This is the first of 3 straight home games.
Okay.
Charleston Southern, Texas Tech, and UConn, which is playing Syracuse today, and that game is in Connecticut. Storrs, Connecticut.
Pressure there from Nick Bartolo, senior from Tampa Gaither, and enough pressure put on Chambers in a hit perhaps, and gosh, a ball that could have been picked off, should have been picked off. There in the secondary, Brandon Howard, the linebacker, in his drop.
.112 to go in the third. I got to review that last play.
They must be looking at the hit on the quarterback, because it was definitely an incomplete pass. Here's another look at it, Bartolo. Well, as the rule goes, and this is protecting Bartolo, this isn't protecting Chambers, but as the rule goes, that crown of that helmet, which is now the very top of the helmet, and then 6 inches out around, you're not allowed to lead with that. So,
in addition to any forcible hit to the shoulder and neck and head area, right?
Absolutely. But now that hit on the quarterback, I would say is, that's fair. It's in his chest, but it's what he hit with. So it's protecting, not in this case the quarterback. It's protecting the defender.
And again, since this is the second half of the game, this will be reviewed. All targetings are reviewed by the National Committee.
You got to see what you hit, and it's. And what it does, and I think that this rule, when it first came about, like, no way, are you kidding me? This is how could this ever, just taught to use your head and hit it with, but you see it. These guys coming up now, they get it, and you don't see as many of these shots that can really have long-term effects, on the brain, and so that's. You hate to see this. I'm just saying what the rule says. So.
Yeah, and this year targeting can be appealed and reversed, and you don't have to sit out the first half of the following game.
After review, there was no targeting on the play. Second down.
Okay. Well,
you like that call, right, James?
Well, I do like.
Because you said it was closer to the chest and.
No, what I'm saying, it didn't have anything to do with where he hit him.
Okay.
It's what he hit him with. He led with the top of his helmet. Okay, so it can be. A guy can hit someone like in the ribs, but if he leads with the top of his helmet, then that can be a targeting call, because they're just trying to get him to tackle safely. That is the #1 goal of that rule, and they've done a good job with it. And I do like the call, because here's this guy, he's a senior, everybody's okay. He don't want to miss any football. Just trying to make a play, and on the other side of the ball, they are making plays.
Anthony Smith, 18 yards. Smith has a TD catch. Jordan Houston.
Smith almost had another, didn't he?
Yeah.
He almost had that nice diving grab.
He's got his 3rd catch of the game. Delbert Mims also with a TD catch. Chris Tootle, back of the end zone, 27 yards. That was in the 3rd quarter from Devin Leary. A spectator right now, 7 yards on the previous play.
Mims continuing to run hard.
NC State approaching 200 yards on the ground in this game against Charleston Southern. Last year they were 13th in the conference in rushing. They were 5th in passing, averaging 288 per game, and total offense 8th at 415 per game. Coach Doran looking up at the scoreboard. Looks like we've got a timeout on the field. were just trying to sync up the play clock and the game clock. And the play clock ran out before the game clock. I think. There was a second difference. There was a 1 second difference while we're yapping away over here.
There you go.
Bates.
There you go. Oh. Play clock on the right and the red.
Right.
So that ran. So
oh, man, my head hurts.
Unless he did get the timeout in. And,
right.
like maybe that's what it was. I think Doran's trying to figure it out, too.
That's going to be the end of the third. Coach Dave Doran of the NC State Wolfpack with a 48-3 lead over Charleston Southern. NC State has the lead in the home opener. And it's going to be 10-0 for Dave Doran in home openers. Here in the fourth, Tom and James with you in the running game. Coming to the surface in this game against Charleston Southern, James. And as we mentioned, not as strong as they wanted to a season ago, but today they're putting it on display.
Yeah, and they've got that nice, healthy competition in the backfield. Jordan Houston, who had the unfortunate fumble on the goal line last week, fortunately in the win, he's back and he's hungry. Speaking of hungry, Devin Leary on the ground, showing you what a leader does. We've seen plenty of great action from Demi Sumo so far this year. Delbert Mims, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention these guys. Grant Gibson, Chandler Zavala, Anthony Belton, Tim McKay today, Dylan McMahon, Bryson Spees. The offensive line has been good. They got to cut down on the penalties, though.
And that's 186 on the ground. Well, thank you for watching the fourth. Brought to you by CPI Security, and a quick message from them.
CPI Security's new outdoor camera, stopping trouble before it starts.
This is going to be awesome.
Opening moments of the fourth quarter, 48-3. NC State has the lead. Tom Wormy, James Bates, Lindsey Rowley on the sidelines, and our outstanding ACC football production crew with you from Raleigh, North Carolina, and Carter Finley Stadium. First down for the Wolfpack inside the 25. Julian Gray fights his way down to the 10. That'll be a pass play for 13 yards.
Gray, just a freshman out of Charlotte, has been more involved today in showing you why. Nice wheels on the edge. He gets over there, gets that corner turned. Got a couple of his buddies on the perimeter leading the charge. Look at Jack Chambers. In that conversation with him yesterday, maybe this is why I liked him so much. He said he just loves the swamp. His first game ever in college football was played in the swamp against the Florida Gators when he was at Charleston Southern.
NC State and the CPI Security are end zone to the end zone, back corner. Touchdown Wolfpack. Jalen Coit on the pass from Jack Chambers at 10 yards.
Chambers coming in here off the bench and just zipping it around. He throws a pretty ball. The one to Smith that was just off the fingertips early. This one in the corner. Graduate transfer out of Lilburn, Georgia.
The fifth TD pass by the quarterbacks of NC State in the game this afternoon. 55-3. Wolfpack. Chambers to Coit for the TD. NC State back in the end zone once again. Chambers chatting with Leary. Now he's got a TD toss in the game. They can smile about that. Leary had 4 of them prior to Chambers coming in. He wore the colors of Charleston Southern a season ago, so playing against his teammates from a couple years ago. In fact, Chambers came in when Malgren got hurt a couple of seasons ago, James, and he never left the starting position until leaving for Raleigh in a graduate season. 12 different NC State receivers have caught footballs today, either from Chambers or Devin Leary. 5 of those for touchdowns. Coit, the most recent touchdown recipient for the redshirt freshman from Cheraw, South Carolina. So glad that you've been with us for ACC football on a Saturday in Raleigh. Home opener for the Wolfpack after the great escape a week ago. And now it's a distant memory, James. While we have a second, let's get a message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
Well, we're gearing up for fall. We got these blowers and mowers and we're ready to go, huh? Cleaning it up. Hitting September. It's great on college football Saturdays, that's for sure. And coming to Raleigh is always a treat.
Next week, it's up to Massachusetts in the Commonwealth. Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, Alumni Stadium. Boston College hosting Maine out of the football championship subdivision.
So of our first 3 games that we've called, 2 of them have been in Commonwealths.
That's true.
Are there only 2 Commonwealths? Is that right?
I want to say Kentucky is also a Commonwealth, James.
Okay. All right, so 3.
We'll keep the research staff on that for you.
So if you're a high school football team in Massachusetts, Virginia, I guess Kentucky, if that's the case, and you go all the way, I've never seen anybody called a Commonwealth champ. They're always the state champs. I've never seen it on anyone's bio.
That's part of the title.
Commonwealth champ.
Commonwealth champ.
Maybe it's because it doesn't fit on the back of a letter jacket. It costs too much per letter.
I'm from Massachusetts originally, James. We played for a Commonwealth championship.
Oh, you did?
I'm just making that up to go along with your story.
Dang it.
Commonwealth of Pennsylvania as well.
Wow, what a great job defensively. Nice ball put out there. Tayshawn Smith, just stride for stride. He doesn't let any distance between him and the receiver. Feels that body. Got a feel for him. He just walls them off. It's a good throw, too, but it's excellent coverage. You're right there in phase, right in his hip pocket. That receiver's eyes get big, those hands go up. Snap that head around. So many times you see a guy won't snap his head around, he runs into him, and it's a penalty flag. Snap that head around, you get an interception, and that's exactly what happened with Tyler Baker-Williams. Last week, he had a pick just like that. Great looking play.
Coit dances down the 35. Maybe to the 48. The return was 13 yards from Coit. Cameron Smith had the tackle on special teams for the Bucks. 12:40 to go in the 4th.
When it comes.
NC State leading Charleston Southern. I'm Lindsay Riley down on the sidelines. Well, quarterback Devin Leary seems to be done for the day after putting up some monster numbers, but he wasn't the only ACC quarterback to do so today. Getting a huge win at Vanderbilt. Wake Forest ends up getting the win 45-25. A lot of talk revolving around their quarterback, Sam Hartman, coming back from injury. Man, did he show up. Guys, he went 18 for 27, 300 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Awesome. That's great to see, Lindsay, and thank you for that update. Was glad to see ACC on top of that ACC-SEC matchup, and glad to see Wake winning it, but also was curious as to how he had done. These guys, not only great quarterbacks and teammates, but I mean, when we get a chance to sit down with them in Charlotte at ACC Media Days, just great guys, so much fun, guys like Devin Leary and Sam Hartman. It's always a treat, one of the highlights of the summer, and was really bummed for a guy which, kept under wraps a lot of exactly what was going on with him over there in Winston-Salem, but glad that he's through it, and glad that he's back out there playing ball for Wake Forest. And and they shoot in his absence in week 1, they look pretty good without him, Tom.
Win against VMI in week 1. They'll play Liberty next week, and then September 24th, home game against the Clemson Tigers. Wake, winners of the Atlantic a season ago, James, when they played Pitt in the championship game in Charlotte, North Carolina, ending the 6-year run of the Clemson Tigers as the Atlantic champs. Coastal always a toss-up. I think a lot of people are looking at Miami perhaps this season, James.
They always are at this time of the
Right?
year, though. They always are.
I don't know. It just came to mind.
Well, no. You're right, and justifiably so. They've always got some players, but they haven't been able to finish and haven't lived up to expectations. Oh man, that was a pop.
That comes off from Morris.
That's Pudge. Still flying sideline to sideline. The one they call Pudge, Garrett Sega, the middle linebacker. And
hey, you know Pat Narduzzi's calling me right now, James. It's like, what about us? We are the defending champs in the Coastal.
True. And on top of that, they've got a big one today after the big win over West Virginia. They've got the Tennessee Volunteers coming to town.
Welcome to the football game, MJ Morris. That's right, a team they beat last year. And then the following week, Pitt has Western Michigan, James. That's on the road. We did the home game.
Oh,
Pitt lost to Western Michigan last year, despite being the champs of the ACC.
That was the old Pitt, though, right? That was back. Kenny Pickett was the quarterback, though. That's and Kenny Pickett had a down day, and it just shows. Even these stars, out there and not ready to go, and ball falls a funny way here and there, and man, it can turn into a disaster for some of these teams, and that was perfect example. There in Pittsburgh, Western Michigan comes in and just goes away with the win.
Kenny Pickett was on hand for the West Virginia game, James, in Pittsburgh, where they unfurled the championship banner, the ACC. He didn't have to go far for his professional career, obviously. Same building.
He didn't. Taking a check on Morris in that tent right there. As he was hit, his helmet came flying off, and he didn't just leave for the one play with his helmet coming off, but we want to make sure that he's okay after the big hit by Sega.
So Chambers coming back in. NC State fans can celebrate a victory and a 2-0 record. That's another win at home, James, too. That's 11 straight at home. Second longest home winning streak in school history. The longest was 16. That was back in the early 70s when a guy named Luke Holtz was the head coach here at NC State. And again, the longest in the country right now belongs to the Clemson Tigers at 34 in a row.
Zane Vance, his defense, continuing to play. I mean, the hustle plays. A lot of these starters that are still out there competing, and they get a turnover on downs. And big hit by Sega. Cameron Smith on the defense right there. I'm not sure what they're stopping here. Boots with the fur. You've got your boots on with the fur. You should show those next time we're on camera. 55-3. Boots with the fur.
I'm every one of those days where everything feels good.
Here in the fourth with 9:43 to go in the home opener. And that home winning streak for NC State. Right now it's at 10. It's got to go to 11. Here are the other teams in the nation, and way out in front, James, the Clemson Tigers, who have Furman today at home at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, so Clemson Tigers, you're probably going to mark that one up to 35. I mean, 35 straight wins at home. And I think in the 90s, those Coach Spurrier days and Danny Warfel, when those Gators were playing some good ball, when we were a part of 36 straight wins at home. I think that's what the number was. And then,
what did Coach say about that when you got number 36?
Shoot, come to the swamp, only Gators get out alive. I guess that's what he said. He actually, on my recruiting trip,
do you have to wear bug spray in the swamp, by the way? That's what Utah thought.
That is true.
From what I understand. That's just a rumor going around.
No, that's a true rumor. That was kind of funny. There some Utah fans parking at our daughter's house there by campus. She's a swimmer back at UF, and was parking some cars out. They got out and started spraying themselves with bug spray. And they're all looking at him like, what's going on? Like, well, we're going to the swamp. Don't we need bug spray? And I'm not kidding either.
Normally, yes.
It seems like such a made-up story, but it's the truth.
As long as the meatloaf is good, everything else is good too. Sliding near midfield. And sliding in safely. Isaiah Bess got 9. So if you're NC State, James, you certainly had expectations of winning this game without question. Are you back on track per se after what happened last week and now the result this week?
I think so. I think that, there are still, Devin Leary, you look at his numbers, like you said, he wasn't as crisp and as, as perfectly sharp as we've seen him at times, but he was really, really good. And it's, it's just a step forward in the right direction. All these guys getting involved and feeling like part of feeling like part of this victory. No flag ever come there. Okay. Let me make sure. Kobe Johnson. Taking out some aggression there on the sidelines. Lucky he didn't get a flag there. But I think, a few things here. You continued your streak of turnovers, I think, is huge defensively. You really played well as a defensive unit, and it's without Peyton Wilson. And yeah, you've got a ton of good linebackers, so you're going to be fine.
25 seconds.
But you'll get him back. It's when they talk about it in baseball, hitting, it's infectious. It's the same with turnovers in football. It's so much fun to create turnovers and to create havoc with these offenses and to rally with your boys. And that's why these turnover chains that they no longer have down in Miami, but the turnover bone that they have here, I think it's so much fun because it's like it's such a fun thing to rally around as a team. The dunk at Pittsburgh, turnovers are huge, and the fact that they kept that streak going and they kept forcing those turnovers, and today they capitalized. That was one of their goals, was to capitalize and take advantage, play complementary football when you get a turnover and make them pay, score points off of it. And here's another one right on cue, huh?
Number 3 in the game for NC State.
Thank you, Jalen Frazier. That's how you help a guy. See, that is complimentary football and then some. Complimenting the booth as well to help us tell a story. See, look at it. Look at how there's Isaiah Moore. There's these guys, out there patting them on the back. I mean, that's what's fun. That's what it's all about, is to celebrate with your buddies. And they gave them the bone. And these are guys, too, that for a large chunk, they may be contributing to this great season because there's so much depth and so much talent on the scout team. And he's got the red bone. He'll sign it. What they do is if you get a turnover, you get to sign your name on it. And at the end of the year, whoever has signed it the most gets to take that bone home. And last year, Drake Thomas took the turnover bone home. But, it's funny. Last week, if you remember, Tom, last week, we had Virginia, and Tony Elliott, he said something before the game, and you kind of take it for granted. He's like, I want these guys to come on and off the field with some energy and stuff. And they had a turnover on downs. On 4th down, they shut them down. And they kind of just eased their way off the field, and Tony Elliott went sprinting out there to try to kind of teach them how to celebrate. I mean, that's what you celebrate about. That's why you're playing, is for those moments. And it's great to see this defense. All the starters pop up, Lindsay Rowley, and they rally around their buddies. It's really great to see a unit, isn't it? Is it fun down there?
It absolutely is. As you said, Drake Thomas won the bone last year. I spoke with Drake earlier this week, and he told me their defense really takes pride in bringing out the turnover bone, mainly because they want to get the ball back to their offense to put more points on the board. He said, we got to do our job so they can do theirs. Right, Batesy?
Yeah, and then they do theirs, and that's the thing, too. Last week, Lindsay, they had 2 turnovers and 0 points off of those turnovers. That's when you really put a hurting on a team, when you can turn it over and then make them pay, just like this right here.
NC State already has 10 points off of the 2 previous turnovers, and that play went for 26 yards. Mims again.
But Mims has gotten a lot of action back there, and he's been running hard. Excellent day for Delbert Mims, sophomore from Indianapolis.
Over 500 yards of total offense for NC State. Could have been more. Drop it to 30. So we're just under 6 minutes to go in the fourth. We can also tell you that Miami posted a victory over Southern Miss, James. We mentioned the Wake Forest win. Both of those teams are ranked. Miami's 15, Wake Forest 23rd in the country. Duke goes on the road, beats Northwestern, James, and North Carolina at Georgia State. Tar Heels are 3-0 with a 35-28 win.
How about Mike Elko, the head coach at Duke?
Yeah.
New sheriff in town, and they're playing with some pop.
One of the 4 new head coaches in the league this year. Taking over for David Cutcliffe. Class personified, the way he built that program up. And now Elko trying to continue the tradition at Duke. A couple of wins to start the year.
Are the Noles off today? Is that right? Florida State, yeah, because they played week 0. Wow, what a win for them. And
well, the LSU blocked extra point to win that game. In their most recent game, they beat Duquesne in week 0. They're off, and then they travel to Louisville for a game this coming week. That would be on a Friday night.
Yeah, and they get Louisville off of their win.
Louisville had a great win yesterday against UCF after losing to Syracuse in the first week of the season. They got dominated at the Dome, so it's going to be an awesome season, James, in the ACC. I mean, there's so much to talk about, so many teams with so much promise. Who knows who'll be in Charlotte in early December for that ACC championship game, Bank of America Stadium. Pitt, the defending champ. We saw one of the first-year head coaches last week in Tony Elliott get his first win of his head coaching career. He came over from Clemson as the offensive coordinator for many years and part of those 2 national championship teams, and they got a win against Richmond in week 1. Virginia's on the road at Illinois today. Well, let's take a timeout from Raleigh. 4.5 minutes to go towards a victory for NC State. Minutes to go in our final quarter of play in the home opener for the NC State Wolfpack. And now time for He's Built Tough, brought to you by Wrangler. It's Devin Leary.
Who else would it be? Here comes Wrangler and he's one tough customer. There used to be, that was the jingle for the commercial in the 80s. And Devin Leary is without a doubt one tough customer and a great leader. They love him around here. He just oozes with confidence. His confidence is infectious, and these guys love him, and he's such an incredible leader to everybody on this team. You know, Sumo coming in, the new running back. It's, you know, trying to kind of, after last year playing just as a special teams guy, hey, look, you need to learn this offense, helping the young guys, helping the guys that have been there forever. Devin Leary, so special to this offense, led by offensive coordinator Tim Beck, and he's got a lot of weapons to spread it around to, and they did just that today. And I believe 12 different receivers catching balls between him and Jack today. And he gets the toughness vote anytime out there, especially with that first touchdown run, twisting and turning, taking a couple shots and diving into the end zone for the first touchdown of the day.
3 rushes for 20 yards and a couple of TDs for Devin Leary. Runs of 12 and 2 yards. And James, he hit 14 different receivers. NC State utilized 14 different receivers during the course of the afternoon. Getting a little dreary now here in Raleigh, but the victory has been secured. Perhaps the work was done after the first quarter, as NC State had a halftime lead of 38-0, led 10-0 after the first quarter, then went out to the 38-0 lead. A lone field goal of 48 yards for Charleston Southern, their only points. Four TD passes for Leary, and that ties his career high on the afternoon. And the defense also allowing just that field goal and a loss of 2 on the previous play for Dave Doran.
Who just smiled, by the way. I saw we got it on tape. We got it on tape.
Roll it back.
Oh, I saw it.
It was more of a smirk.
Yeah, Craddock there blowing up his blocker to go back there and make the play. And
in all honesty, James, I was a little worried about our meetings and what sort of mood there would be.
Oh, see, that's a smile. Look at that is a smile.
He smiled when he met Lindsey Rowley. He wasn't so thrilled about me and Bates being there, but, you know, it was a good meeting. It was a very productive meeting. Tony Gibson, defensive coordinator, to his left. We had a great talk with the coaches, but they all had the same tone, right, James? It was guarded. It was thankful. It was... big sigh of relief from Greenville, North Carolina, and now you come back and you get the job done today in convincing fashion, as was expected. And then you crank it up a notch. We're taking it up a notch next week, James. Texas Tech is coming to town. It's going to be a 7 Eastern start. I don't know why they don't like afternoon games. The two that we've done over the last 4 years have both been wins against Furman and now today against Charleston Southern.
And nice wins at that. And, you know, as you look at their upcoming games here, we mentioned Texas Tech coming to town, then UConn, and then they go on the road and shoot. Even Florida State's a little bit better. It's Syracuse up in the Carrier Dome, even when they're not playing their best football, which it seems like Robert and I has left Virginia, and after week 1 anyway, has them playing a little bit better offensively. So it's never easy out here. And you know, just to finish up on our meetings and with Doran, one thing that he did say that I talked about off the top that you know, I'm going to write it down and share it with my family, with my kids, because you know it really hit me, meant a lot. Is like an underachiever is what he said. An underachiever is the worst thing that anybody can call you. And you know, and to not go out there and to use the talents that you're blessed with, you know, and to go out there and to just kind of go through the motions when you have talents, and not just on the football field but in life, is it's really interesting. I like that quote, and I'm gonna have to pass it along to the Bates kids and let them know they want them to be their best at all times.
Well, we know our production crew overachieves each and every week. Here hours before the start of the game, hours after the game, and might have to contend with a little bit of drizzle moving into the area all of a sudden, James. Some gray clouds, pewter gray skies rolling in to the Raleigh area. We avoided the rain for the better part of the day, though, which was nice. Not so much anymore. Raindrops on the lens and falling at a steady pace at the moment.
Well, Lindsey Rowley with her ninja uniform on that she wore today, is hopefully that's not getting wet and ruined.
Hit at the end of the play there, James.
Nice pop right as he's going out of bounds, and you know it is good to see, you know, both sides of the ball in this second half. This Charleston Southern team, Coach Denson's squad, licking your wounds going back after a 55-3 loss is what it looks like it'll end with. But they continued to fight. It may not have always meant success, but they didn't fold up the tent and just let this NC State offense run through them in the second half. Not sure what's going on down there right now. Huh. Something with substitution. But here we go. They just needed an extra guy to get in there and block.
So next week we're going to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Alumni Stadium for Maine and Boston College. Maine out of the Colonial Athletic Association, BC. They're part of the lone conference game today, James, against Virginia Tech. That's in Blacksburg, and they lost their first game of the season to Rutgers.
Well, you talk about a big one between them and Virginia Tech today. Two teams that suffered losses in their openers. And Jurkovec, that's one of those great quarterbacks in the ACC. We had him a few times last year, and he was fun to watch.
How about the game Jurkovec had at Georgia Tech when he ran for 3 touchdowns in the game? And that was coming off of a shoulder injury too, James, a season ago for Phil Jurkovec. Transfer from Notre Dame in the BC program. He's just one of the group of quarterbacks in this league. Garrett Schrader at Syracuse, along with all the guys that we mentioned at halftime. Brennan Armstrong, Devin Leary here at NC State, Tyler Van Dyke at Miami, Jurkovec at BC. Keaton Slovis, the transfer for Pittsburgh. I mean, Sam Hartman coming back today. We could do a whole show on this. We haven't done enough TV today? Past 4 o'clock on the East Coast?
We kind of have in the second half a little bit, maybe. You know.
What about Drake May? Freshman quarterback for North Carolina. And they got a win today, 35-28 at Georgia State. So Autry Denson's team, it was an uphill climb all the way. But they're not afraid of the big-time competition, as we told you, playing Georgia and ECU last season. And they'll gain some good reps and experience from this one as they continue on in their season in the Big South. For the Buccaneers from North Charleston, South Carolina at Charleston Southern.
I didn't have it written down, Tom, but I wanted to make sure. Brian Mitchell's the cornerback coach. You know, again, we just saw another play. You know, good position by these corners. These are well-coached corners, and Dave Dorn's a defensive guy, so he's going to have good defensive coaches as assistant coaches, and Brian Mitchell, one of them. His corners look good today, and Dave Dorn's whole team looked pretty good today as they get ready to try to move to 3-0 next week after a 2-0 start.
Yeah, they'll host Texas Tech. Dave Dorn's team has the victory, 55-3. As we close this one out, the raindrops of Raleigh, North Carolina, shaking the hand of Autry Denson, the head coach of Charleston Southern. Dave Dorn, his 66th career victory, second most in school history. Don't forget to join us next Saturday night, 7:30 in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Chestnut Hill, as the Boston College Eagles host the Black Bears from Maine. We thank you so much for watching our presentation of ACC football. For James Bates, Lindsey Rowley, and our outstanding production crew, I'm Tom Wormy, saying so long from Raleigh, North Carolina. It's the Wolfpack over the Bucks.
The AVP has struck gold.